Chapter 4689 The white bone war horse flew with 4 hooves and dragged the bronze chariot. It was crushed by the violent force. The terrible sense of oppression made people breathe hard. Go to help Zifeng and give this guy to me. Guoran drank heavily, stood on the void and hit the white bone war horse directly. A mantis is a cart. Is too much. Seeing Guoran resist his chariot with his body, the voice of Nine Injuries was full of sarcasm. Boom! As a result, as soon as his voice fell, the white bone war horse hit Guoran, and the white bone war horse was hit askew. Then Guoran hit the bronze chariot, and with a loud bang, Guoran was hit and flew out, and the white bone war chariot was also hit by Guoran into a man-made pit. The 9 injuries originally sitting in the bronze chariot flew out of the car. The impact force even formed a huge impact aura in the void. What? The attention of 9 injuries from beginning to end focused on Long Chen. He didn't bother to take a look at the Dragon Blood Legion. So he didn't see Guoran's performance before. Until now, Guoran blocked the car with his body. He was shocked to find that Guoran's body was so terrible. The earth overflows with golden lotus and 10,000 lotus blossoms. When Guoran resisted the 9 injuries, Bai Shishir was directly sent to Luo Changxing with the help of Bai Xiaola, and the golden lotus came everywhere. Go away! Seeing someone intervene, Luo Changxing was furious and his blood gas stirred. The endless golden lotus was directly shocked by his blood gas. This is a unique skill of the family of heaven and man. Use your own blood essence to exert the power of destiny. It is also an absolute defense and can bounce the enemy away. Hiss! However, what Luo Changxing didn't expect was that there was a golden sword hidden in the golden lotus. When he reacted, the golden sword had torn his defense and pointed to the key of his back heart. Luo Changxing was surprised and angry. He didn't expect to be calculated by others all day. Because Bai Xiaola helped Bai Shishir hide his breath with pupil technique, Luo Changxing's perception was confused. At this time, a fatal blow appeared, and he instinctively avoided it. Buzz, at the moment when he dodged, the attack could no longer be continuous. At the moment when he relaxed, Yu Zifeng cut out with a sword. Poof! Luo Changxing's throat was cut open, just a little, and the sharp sword could cut off his head. Dang dang! Then there were 2 explosions. Yu Zifeng's sword and Bai Shishir's golden sword were cut on Luo Changxing's bone claws. At the critical moment, Luo Changxing once again made a shrinking turtle and summoned absolute defense. Don't love war seeing that Luo Changxing was held in his hand by the golden bone claw. Bai Shishir wanted to try whether he could use the power of gold to pry the bone claw open, but he was stopped by Yu Zifeng. Hoo! At this time, the dragon blood soldiers had rushed over, and they hurried to meet the people. Go save Guoran. When Yu Zifeng returned to the team, they immediately approached Guoran. Now that they are besieged, they must work together and must not be broken one by one. Don't worry about me, I'll do it myself. Guoran shouted, indicating that he could go there. No one could do anything to get him. Boom! Just then, a tall figure appeared behind Guoran, with a bright head and no grass. His face was like a butcher, and his eyes were full of fierce killing intention. As soon as he appeared, he hit Guoran in the back. Click! The sound of bone breaking came, and Guoran gushed blood. Your defense is not enough in front of me. The bald man looked at Guoran coldly, with disdain and ridicule in his eyes. Die! The bald man snorted coldly, stepped out 1,000 miles away and arrived in a flash. He had come to Guoran's head and kicked Guoran's head. However, at the moment when his foot was about to kick Guoran's head, Guoran's body disappeared in an instant, and the bald man kicked an empty foot. Ha! The bald man was surprised. When he looked at the Dragon Blood Legion, he found that Guoran had appeared in the Dragon Blood Legion. At this time, Bai Xiaola and the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox on his shoulder put down the printing method in their hands at the same time. They all breathed a long sigh of relief. Almost, Guoran's life was scrapped. Guoran was also too big. He thought he was invincible in defense, so he swaggered back. If he could be careful, he would not be seriously injured. Medical soldiers hurried to use the skill of life to help Guoran recover from his injury. At the same time, when they look at the bald man, They all look dignified. This guy has been quiet during the robbery, and even no one has noticed him. Just like In Tian of the Life Hunter, he hides deeply, but shows up at this time. Wu Hun, you have the guts to come to me. At this time, the dragon dust in the disaster roared. Wu Hun is also very good at hiding. He looks like a reckless man, but his mind is very deep. Even Long Chen didn't expect that he was also in the disaster. I want to come to you. Unfortunately, you can't come out now and I can't help it. You know, I haven't done anything, but I don't want other miscellaneous fish to hinder me. However, anyway, there will be a war between you and me sooner or later. Simply, I'll kill your friend, so that your hatred for me will be deeper. When the decisive battle is later, you won't run away because of fear. Wu Hun said with a smile. When Wu Hun appeared, even Luo Changxing and others were surprised. They didn't expect that such a terrible existence was hidden around them. Previously, the white bone war horse and bronze chariot of E9 injuries were hit and flew. We can see how terrible Guoran's defense is. So far, it seems that no one can really hurt Guoran, but Wu Hun did it. Not only hurt Guoran, but also nearly killed Guoran with a punch. Even Luo Changxing and others felt shocked. You've been hiding in the dark. You obviously didn't find out my details and didn't dare to fight with me. Now you're more afraid that my strength will crush you after the robbery, but you can only vent your jealousy and resentment on my partner. You also deserve the title of the successor of the blood of the 3 Tongtian beast? It's a big joke. The real 3 link-swallowing beasts are all above-board heroes. How can they be cowards like you? Dragon Dust laughed in the Heaven and Earth Thunder tripod, and the laughter was full of ridicule and contempt. You want to die? When Long Chen said this, Wu Hun immediately raised his eyebrows and killed him. He also claims to be the inheritor of the blood of Santong Sky-swallowing beast. You are not a pure family of Santong Sky-swallowing beasts at all. To put it bluntly, you are just a hybrid. Seeing that he hit the key of Black Hun, Long Chen continued to sneer. Now people help him to share the power of heaven's disaster. He has no worries about his life. Just after another incense-burning time, he can explode the Heaven and Earth tripod, get rid of the shackles and advance to God. Time is very important to him. If he can delay a little, he will delay a little. Therefore, he kept angering Wu Hun with words and asked him to fight to the death with himself. Blaspheme the great 3 lynx-swallowing beasts, I will make you regret coming to this world, and I will let you watch your friends die in humiliation one by one. Buzz. Wu Hun strode away, and the man appeared in front of the Dragon Blood Legion and smashed the people with a fist. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4690. Seeing that Wu Hun was killing us, Xia Chen sneered. Just because you want to kill us? Just try. Buzz. Xia Chen snorted coldly, his hands were sealed, and tens of thousands of array plates appeared around like stars, wrapping the whole Dragon Blood Legion. The array plate lights up and forms a bright large array. As soon as the large array comes out, the world vibrates. This is the strongest defensive large array formed in summer morning. Frog at the bottom of the well. In the face of Xia Chen's battle array, Wu Hun sneered, smashed a fist and burst into blood gas. On his fist, 3 color lines circulated, and 3 different forces gathered together. Boom! With a loud bang, the boundary formed by Xia Chen was punched out a big hole by Wu Hun. What? At that moment, Xia Chen's face changed greatly, and his eyes were full of unbelievable looks. His strongest border was punched by Wu Hun. He couldn't accept the result. With 1 array, you want to stop the great 3 lynx family? How stupid are you? There is no law in the world that can stop my 3 connections. Wu Hun sneered and came in through the hole of the border. Buzz. As soon as Wu Hun came in, Gu Yang's attack came. Boom! Gu Yang's strike was like electricity. The timing was so wonderful that he stabbed Wu Hun's eyebrows with a long gun. It can be said that Gu Yang's lifelong strength condensed this blow. However, just as everyone was about to applaud Gu Yang's hit, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. Gu Yang's long gun stabbed in the middle of Wu Hun's eyebrows, and the blood light splashing scene that people imagined did not appear. Gu Yang's spear stabbed Wu Hun's eyebrows heavily. The sharp tip of the spear could not pierce even Wu Hun's skin. At that moment, not only Gu Yang, but also Luo Changxing, Minglong Tianzhao and others were stunned. They can see that Gu Yang's strike force is extremely terrible. Moreover, the long gun in his hand is a holy soldier, which can't pierce the dark skin. Fear, Wu Hun's big hand grabbed the tip of the gun and Gu Yang's face changed greatly. A powerful force was brewing in the long gun, just like a volcano about to erupt. The most terrible thing was that his big hand was sucked by the long gun and couldn't evacuate. Hiss! The dragon blood soldiers screamed for a while. They saw something bad. Just when Wu Hun's power was about to explode, a long sword came straight to Wu Hun's neck. At the most critical moment, Yu Zifeng shot. "You can't save him," Wu Hun sneered. On his left hand, the three-color divine light flowed, so he patted Yu Zifeng's long sword, and his hand trembled violently. The vast force roared away at Gu Yang along the long gun, and he was going to shock Gu Yang to death. Poof! Hiss! The two voices sounded at the same time. Gu Yang took a mouthful of blood and flew out backwards. On the other side, Yu Zifeng's long sword pierced through the three-color divine light, stabbed into Wu Hun's palm, went straight to the handle, and the tip of the sword pointed directly to Wu Hun's throat. Unfortunately, Wu Hun is tall and has extremely long arms. The sharp sword is only half an inch from Wu Hun's throat. The sharp edge and divine brightness on the sharp sword have cut the skin of his neck, and 3 colors of blood overflow. At this time, Wu Hun was surprised and angry. He didn't expect that Yu Zifeng could ignore his 3 links, which led to the reduction of half of his strike force to kill Gu Yang. Gu Yang himself was strong enough to spit out a mouthful of blood. Death? Wu Hun roared and kicked at Yu Zifeng fiercely. At this time, Wu Hun fell into a state of rage. When his blood gas broke out, 3 divine lights circulated around him. The power of this foot can kick the stars. Purple electricity pierces the clouds. At this time, the long sword was clamped by Wu Hun's palm, and Yu Zifeng could not evacuate. However, even if he could evacuate, he would not withdraw. The sword is in the presence of people. This is the creed of sword cultivation. Even if he died, he would never give up his long sword. He injected all his strength into the long sword in an instant. Boom! Wu Hun kicked out, and the void burst open. A shield with 3 flower patterns appeared in front of Yu Zifeng. Behind the shield was Bai Xiaola with his hands bound, and behind Bai Xiaola was a huge 9-tailed demon fox. When Wu Hun kicked on the 3-flower shield, the 3-flower shield burst open. Bai Xiaola snorted and flew out upside down. There was blood in his eyes. At the same time, on the tip of Yu Zifeng's sword, a purple sword chi burst out, stabbed in from the black muddy nostril and out from the back of the brain. Roar! Wu Hun roared up to the sky, and the sharp pain made him crazy. His blood and chi were ignited. The 3-color divine light swept the sky in an instant, and Yu Zifeng was bounced out by the breath. "Brother Zifeng, are you okay?" Bai Xiaola catches Yu Zifeng. Under the protection of Purple Pupil 9-tailed demon fox, they return to the Dragon Blood Legion safely. At this time, Yu Zifeng's face was as pale as paper. The last blow exhausted all his strength. At this time, his eyes were full of disbelief. After such a fatal blow, Wu Hun was not dead. "A group of humble mole ants are trying to kill me? Do you know that the great 3 links are immortal?" Wu Hun roared up to the sky, and his voice was full of cold, killing intention. The 3 link-swallowing beasts are one of the oldest races in the world. They are known for their immortality and awe-inspiring reputation for thousands of years. However, because the 3 links devouring beasts were sealed in the chaotic era, there are almost no legends about them in the world. Even the elite Tianjiao present have never heard of the 3 links devouring beasts. Even Luo Changxing and others were shocked to see that Wu Hun had not died after such a terrible fatal blow. Is there really an immortal existence in this world? However, although Wu Hun was not killed, Yu Zifeng's sword seemed to make him extremely painful. He held his head and kept roaring. It seemed that he was healing and recovering. He was unable to fight the Dragon Blood Legion for the time being. "Do it together and kill them." At this time, Luo Changxing and others woke up from the shock. Now Wu Huan has temporarily lost his combat power. They can't wait, because there are signs that Long Qin has begun to control the disaster. Belong blood-bound, Guoran roared. At this time, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. His hands quickly formed a seal, and his whole bodice blood rose like smoke. At the same time, all the dragon blood soldiers ignited the dragon blood, and all the blood and gas were connected. A blood border was formed in the void. The blood advanced level was covered with dragon scales to protect the people. This is the last defense means of the Dragon Blood Legion. You know, all they face are 9-star destiny, experts among experts and monsters among monsters. If the boundary is broken, the Dragon Blood Legion will inevitably suffer huge casualties. At this time, they have no reservation and inject all their strength and hope into the boundary. Boom boom. At this time, the attacks of Luo Changxing and others poured down like a storm. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4691, Spell, Burn Dragon Blood. Guoran roared and the dragon blood gathered together with the strength of the people. It is the strongest defense state of the Dragon Blood Legion so far. In order to protect the dragon dust, Xia Chen had already prepared the strongest array, and the dragon blood border is the last card. It will not be used unless it is absolutely necessary, because once the dragon blood is used to form a boundary, it means that this is the last resort of the Dragon Blood Legion. The dragon blood boundary consumes all the dragon blood in the human body. Once the boundary is broken, the Dragon Blood Legion can only be slaughtered. Xia Chen didn't expect that his invincible array was broken by a punch and didn't use it all. The Dragon Blood Legion fell into an extremely dangerous situation for a moment. Boom boom. Dao Dao attacks hit the dragon blood border. The power of terror shook the whole world, the sky curtain was torn, and one Dao was collapsing, an image of annihilation. The dragon blood soldiers gnashed their teeth. The dragon blood boundary is rapidly consuming the essence blood in their bodies. The other party's attack is too fierce. In a few breaths, their essence blood will burn out. At that time, death will greet them. Don't be afraid, the boss will avenge us. Guoran roared, and his blood essence was burning wildly. At this time, he had been desperate. He knew that the probability of people surviving was not high. I don't believe you can't break your tortoise shell. Luo Changxing and others were surprised and angry. They never thought that the Dragon Blood Legion could stop so many of them. According to their expectation, the Dragon Blood Legion will be destroyed under their attack, because there is no force in the world that can resist the joint attack of so many people. But the Dragon Blood Legion did it. Seeing this scene, the strong men who participated in the attack were shocked and angry, and their hearts rose with great fear. The potential of these people is too terrible to keep them. Kill, Luo Changxing and others roared. Everyone raised their holy soldiers and attacked the Dragon Blood Legion again. Boom! With a startling explosion, the Dragon Blood enchantment could no longer withstand such a terrible attack and burst into pieces. The dragon blood soldiers in the enchantment fell to the ground, and the real dragon essence blood in their bodies was drained by the enchantment in an instant. However, before the dragon blood boundary was broken, this wave of attack was completely offset. There were no casualties among the dragon blood soldiers, but they had no strength to fight back. The power of gold is boundless sword C. Seeing the border breaking, Bai Shishir, who has been accumulating strength for a long time, sealed his hands. The lotus throne and the goddess statue behind him burst into pieces, turned into a boundless sword sea and shot away in all directions. Bai Shishir knew that she couldn't stop these people. The golden sword attack was just to buy people a little time. For this opportunity, she didn't hesitate to explode her vision, consume Zhenyuan and improve the power of this attack to the extreme. Boom boom. The strong who were supposed to rush here were fiercely stabbed by the boundless sword sea. In each golden sword, there was the original power of white poetry. Even the 9-star destiny did not dare to underestimate it. They resisted one after another, and their progress was blocked. Sister, Bai Xiaola exclaimed. After Bai Shishi's blow, the whole person fainted. This blow exhausted all her strength. Death. When the golden sword disappeared, Luo Changxing and others roared and killed again. At the moment of their hand, the sacred and solemn chanting voice from heaven and earth came overwhelming, and a figure appeared above the dragon blood legion. Yu Qingxian tied his hands and recited the sutra. Endless flame runes surrounded Yu Qingxian, and a flame aura quickly spread in all directions. Bitch die! Yu Zihao roared. Seeing Yu Qingxian reciting the great Brahma Sutra and exercising the magic power of fire, he was surprised and angry. He had a strange flame rune in his hand and patted it at the flame aura. Buzz! The flame aura spread rapidly, and Yu Zihao slapped on it. Break it for me. However, Yu Zihao was shocked that the flame aura was not broken, but he was directly pushed out by the flame aura. How is this possible? Yu Zihao roared. The rune in his hand is a boundary-breaking rune in the great Brahman's vein. It specially destroys all kinds of fire gods and makes them collapse in an instant. This is a unique skill of the great Brahman's vein. Yu Zihao has always used it and never missed it. However, today, his unique skill to restrain all the fire powers failed and was pushed backward. Not only him, but also the disciples around him who fell into the sky and night could not destroy the flame aura. Both of them, together with other Tianjiao, were pushed outward by the flame light group. This flame aura is not very lethal, but it is full of elasticity. He is not afraid of sword and axe. Luo Changxing cut on the aura, but it was bounced back and flew out with the people. They were surprised and angry. They didn't expect that there were so many difficult characters in the Dragon Blood Legion. They couldn't kill them at this time. Sister Qingxian, at this time, Bai Shishir just woke up and gave a cry of surprise. She saw that Yu Qingchuan's face was getting paler and paler, and her life was fluctuating and weaker. Yu Qingxian even blessed the flame aura with vitality. If this goes on, Yu Qingxian will die. Death. At this time, a huge fist glittered with 3 colors and fell on the flame aura. With a bang, the flame aura burst into pieces. Poof! Yu Qingchuan's blood spurted out and dyed her skirt red, just like a little plum blossom blooming. Her beautiful eyes were dimmed for a moment, and her weak appearance was distressing. Sister, Bai Shishir hugged Yu Qingxian. Fortunately, Yu Qingxian was still alive. You are all women of dragon dust, aren't you? Well, I'll kill you myself in front of dragon dust. I want dragon dust to know how stupid it is to desecrate the great 3 Lynx family. Boom, 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 Wu Hun came to Yu Qingxian step by step. At this time, the wound on his head had healed, but the anger aroused by Yu Zifeng's sword kept burning. With each step, the world roared and exploded. Xiaojiu, we can't advise go. At this time, Bai Xiaola broke his drink. There were blood stains in the corners of his eyes and his hands were sealed. Buzz, the huge body of the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox appeared behind Bai Xiaola, and strange patterns appeared on their pupils. Go away. Just as they finished printing, Wu Hun punched out step by step. As soon as a 3-flower pattern appeared on the void, it was blown up by his fist. Bai Xiaola and Zitong 9-tailed demon fox flew backwards at the same time. Wu Hun unexpectedly interrupted their pupil technique first. Death, Wu Hun shocked Bai Xiaola, and no one stopped him. He blew his fist and hit Yu Qingxian and Bai Shishir ruthlessly. Pa! A big hand covered with bloody dragon scales blocked Wu Hun's fist, and a figure blocked Bai Shishir and Yu Qingxian. Dragon dust, boss! When they saw the figure, the whole dragon blood army cheered, and Bai Shishir and Yu Qingxian burst into tears. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4692, Gigi. Dragon dust appeared, and his whole body was still flashing thunder arc. The breath belonging to God was still spreading indiscriminately, which was the sign of just entering the realm of God. The heaven and earth tripod that originally trapped Long Chen has been broken and turned into a rune. At the most critical moment, Long Chen broke the shackles of the heaven and earth tripod and killed it. The heaven and earth tripod is broken, and the divine power of heaven robbery is gradually dissipated. In heaven and earth, only countless thunder dragons are greedily swallowing those broken thunder runes. Dragon Dust, like a god of killing, has just rushed out of the boundless hell. In his eyes, there is endless darkness, like a black hole swallowing heaven and earth. When stared by his eyes, human souls seem to be sucked in. Dare to deceive my brother and hurt my beauty. Do you know what price you will pay? Dragon Dust spoke. His voice, like cold ice, pierced people's eardrums and went straight to people's soul. The strong people present couldn't help fighting a cold war. Black Hun's fist was caught by Long Chen, and he shook hard, but Long Chen's 5 fingers were like a hook, like a dragon's claw, and had stabbed into his flesh. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't break free. Tick-tick. On the dark fist, the finger of Dragon Dust stabbed into the flesh and blood, and there was blood overflow. The blood mixed with the 3 colors dripped slowly. The blood didn't wait to fall to the ground. In the void, it seemed to touch something, turned into 3-color divine light, put it back to Wu Hun's side and integrate into the blood gas around him. All the strong men present were shocked. Although they didn't know Wu Hun and had never heard of the 3-link-swallowing beast family, Gu Yang took a holy soldier and hit it with all his strength. There was no resistance in the center of Wu Hun's eyebrow. Gu Yang couldn't even pierce his skin. It can be seen that his flesh body has reached an incomprehensible level. As soon as Longchen appeared, he not only blocked the blow of Wu Huan, but also crossed their fists and palms. Longchen broke Wu Hun's defense with the power of his fingers. How strong is Longchen at this time? Wu Hun was surprised and angry at this time. He didn't expect that Longchen had finished the robbery so soon. What's more, the power of Longchen would become so terrible. The 3-link-swallowing beasts are indeed noble, but the noble is the pure-blood 3-link-swallowing beasts, not you bastard, let alone your traitor. Longchen looked at Wu Hun and his voice burst out from between his teeth. Death? Wu Hun's face twisted in an instant. Long Chen's words pierced into his chest like a poisonous arrow, making him kill, and another fist smashed at Long Chen. At the moment when Wu Hun shot, Long Chen also shot. His body stepped back, avoided Wu Hun's punch, and kicked Wu Hun's armpit at the same time. This move has no technology to speak of, but because Long Chen's big hand grasps Wu Hun's arm, Wu Hun can't avoid it. He is firmly kicked in his armpit by Long Chen. Boom! There was a loud explosion, followed by the splash of the 3-color blood rain. One of the Black Hun's arms, together with the flesh and blood, was forcibly torn off by the Dragon Dust. Ah! Even the Black Hun couldn't bear the severe pain and screamed bitterly. For Wu Hun, a strong man with strong flesh, it is not only an unspeakable pain, but also an unacceptable shame. Hiss! Wu Hun's torn arm turned into a burst of light smoke in the hands of Long Chen, and returned to Wu Hun's side, and Wu Hun's disappeared arm appeared again. People are appalled. It seems that this Dark Hun is not exaggerated. He was badly hurt by Yu Zifeng before, but now he is torn by Long Chen's hand. His breath has not changed. He is really immortal. Damn bastard, how dare you comment on me? I'm immortal. Unless I'm one of the top 10 chaotic artifacts, I can't kill me at all. I know you have Heaven and Earth tripod in your hand, so what? Your Heaven and Earth tripod is one of the 2 tripods of Heaven and Earth. It can't kill people. You can take it out and kill me. Wu Huan shouted at Longchen. As soon as Wu Hun called, the faces of countless strong men present showed a color of enlightenment. Most of them only knew the Qiankuan tripod, but they didn't know that the Qiankuan tripod was not a magic weapon, but the name of the combination of 2 magic weapons. Only a few people know the secret of the 2 tripods of Heaven and Earth, and also know that the master of the tripod kills, while the master of the tripod of Heaven and Earth breeds. Their abilities are just the opposite. If, as Wu Huan said, the tripod of Heaven and Earth in the hands of Long Chen is a tripod of Heaven and Earth, it's really nothing to be afraid of. Only the real 3-link-swallowing beasts are immortal, and you are just a bastard. I don't believe you can't be killed. Dragon Dust cold hum. Dragon Dust stepped out in one step, and his body was like lightning. He appeared beside Wu Hun and hit Wu Hun's shining head with a fist. To everyone's surprise, Wu Hun didn't dodge in the face of the blow of dragon dust. He roared, and the three-color magic light around his body was absorbed by his body for a moment. At the same time, a face appeared on his left face and right face respectively. When the three faces appeared at the same time, the smell of Black Hun soared several times in an instant. The violent force was like a volcanic eruption. Before Long Chen's fist hit Black Hun, the violent smell rushed Long Chen out. What? At that moment, regardless of the enemy and me, they were startled. Wu Hun didn't do his best before. A mole ant also dares to provoke the great three links. Who gave you the courage? Do you think I killed your companion to prevent you from crossing the robbery? I'll take revenge on them for you, but I won't kill them for you. Wu Hun appeared 3 heads. At this time, he finally looked a little like Wu Tian. However, except that the middle head is real, the 2 sides of the head are illusory, but when 3 heads appear at the same time, his breath makes heaven and earth tremble and change color forever. The 3 links swallow the sky and eat the earth. They can take heaven and earth as food and live forever. This is the horror of the 3 links swallow the sky and animals. Boss, seeing the dragon dust flying, Guoran and others were surprised. Although they had looked up at Wu Hun, they still didn't expect that his terror had exceeded their imagination. Originally, they thought that as soon as the dragon dust came out, the Black Hun would lose, but at this time, they realized that the Black Hun had never shown real strength before. I know you are a person who bears a grudge. If I kill you, you may run away, and if I kill your partner, you will not die with me. Now, I still don't kill you, but choose to kill your partner first. The 3 heads of Wu Hun made a sound at the same time, which shocked the sky and killed the sky. His body swayed, causing the illusion of Tao, and rushed straight to the Dragon Blood Legion. At the moment of his hand, the voice of dragon dust, like the roar of God, spread all over the world. Red Dragon Fighting Body Open. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4693 Boom. In the loud sound of the dragon singing, there was a loud explosion. The heaven and earth cracked and thousands of roads collapsed. The Black Hun who had just rushed out was staggered by a shocking weather wave. He looked at the direction of the dragon dust with a shocked face. Buzzing, buzzing. At this time, the dragon dust has disappeared. There is a piece of red between heaven and earth. The blood-colored air waves rise into the sky and go straight into the sky, stirring the stars in the sky. In the red blood wave, a light spot like a red sun is slowly coming out. As he gets closer and closer, the hot temperature and violent breath make the law chaotic and thousands of moans. The whole world seems to be afraid of this figure. Kaka kaka. In the void, cobweb-like cracks flicker. The void is constantly torn, but it is repaired. It has just been repaired and torn. The scene is like extinction. At the core of the fine crack, a divine ring stretches the world. Within the divine ring, blood and gas diffuse, and a giant dragon can be seen swimming. The giant dragon is too big and too close to the divine ring. The divine ring stretches the world, but you can only see its scales, but you can't see its whole picture. The roar of the giant dragon shocked the world, roared through the ages, reached the heaven and the earth, went straight into the depths of people's soul, and aroused people's most primitive fear. At the center of the divine ring, the figure of dragon dust emerged, and the bloody dragon scales were blooming with divine brilliance, covering the whole world with a layer of red clothes. Everyone was shrouded in red glow. But soon, people found that the blood color was getting darker and darker. It was a little black and frightening. Hoo-hoo! Dragon dust summoned the red dragon fighting body, but to the shock of Guoran and others, dragon dust not only summoned the dragon scale armor, but a bloody cloak appeared behind him. When the cloak is waved, the hunting sounds. The bloody cloak seems to give the soul to the bloody armor. It seems to have its own life. It is violent, bloodthirsty, eager to fight and kill. Is this the strongest fighting body of the boss? Guoran stared with big eyes and muttered to himself that Longchen's dragon blood battle body has a cloak more than them, and this cloak makes Longchen seem more powerful and domineering, such as the god of war Ling Tian, irresistible and profane. At that moment, regardless of the enemy and me, they were shocked by the appearance of dragon dust and were awed by the endless dragon chi and dragon power. Quack quack. Long Chen stretched out his big hand and slowly clenched his fist. There was a crackling sound between his knuckles. At that moment, Long Chen really understood that the strong man of the dragon family had worked hard for him. At this time, he finally reached the level expected by the strong man of the dragon family. You know I have a grudge, but you are still irritating me. If you are only aiming at me, it's easy to say. However, you should not hurt the person I want to protect. That will make me angry, and the angry me will make me feel afraid. Dragon Dust's voice is hoarse. Every word and syllable has a bloody taste. Even Long Chen's voice was trembling. It was not because of fear, but because of anger. At this time, Long Chen was extremely angry. Stop bluffing. If you have a unique skill, others won't have it? Don't you want to protect them? Then I'll let you watch them killed by me one by one, but you can only watch them. Wu Hun recovered from the shock. His body suddenly shook and disappeared in situ. Buzz. Suddenly, in the center of the Dragon Blood Legion camp, the space was distorted. Gua ran and others screamed. They didn't expect that Wu Hun broke through the space and appeared in their camp. It was too late to ask people to avoid. The Dragon Blood soldiers were surprised and angry. They didn't expect that Wu Hun was so shameless. He didn't confront Long Chen head-on and even appeared among them with such a body method. In this case, Long Chen couldn't break out with all his strength. Otherwise, the first people to die in the hands of Long Chen must be the Dragon Blood soldiers. Die. With the magic power of the three links swallowing the Sky family, Wu Hun broke through the space and came to the Dragon Blood Legion camp. In this way, he was equal to putting himself in an invincible position. He punched out and went straight to a Dragon Blood soldier. He didn't do his best to break out, because if the Dragon Blood Legion was destroyed, the Dragon Dust would have no worries. He wanted to kill the Dragon Blood soldiers one by one, which was extremely insidious. Fight with you. Knowing that he was defeated, the Dragon Blood soldier still gathered his whole body strength on the long sword in his hand and fiercely cut at the Black Hun. Poof! To everyone's surprise, Wu Hun's fist was cut open by the Dragon Blood warrior's sword, and the blood light splashed, which almost killed Wu Hun's arm. What? At that moment, even the dragon warrior was surprised. He thought he would die, but he didn't expect that this sword would hurt Wu Hun. At the same time, he felt something wrong. Behind him, the endless warm current surged. When he looked back, he saw Long Chen's big hand pressing behind him. It turned out that the sword attached the power of Long Chen. Boss, the crowd cheered. Pa! At this time, the body of Long Chen flashed in front of the Dragon Blood warrior like a ghost, and his big hand stretched out and directly pressed on the shocked black muddy face. Dragon Dust's actions are like clouds and flowing water, fast as lightning. When Wu Hun reacts, Dragon Dust has pushed him out of the Dragon Blood Legion camp according to Wu Hun's face. Boom! Wu Hun has just been pushed out of the Dragon Blood Legion camp. On Long Chen's arm, there is a great light. A powerful force shoots out along Long Chen's palm, and Wu Hun's mind bursts into pieces. Boom! Wu Hun's head and the void he stretched out his hand burst to pieces, forming a broken space of tens of thousands of miles. The blow of Dragon Dust, with its accompanying power, seriously damaged the law of space. After the emergence of the big hole, it not only did not heal, but grew larger and larger. Dragon Dust shocked Wu Hun's head and kicked Wu Hun's body, but what everyone didn't expect was that Wu Hun who lost his head disappeared in a flash. This is not dead? The Dragon Blood soldiers screamed. At the moment when the Black Hun disappeared, the Dragon Dust also disappeared. Suddenly, the void trembled, and two figures appeared at the same time. Hiss! Long Chen's big hand grabbed Wu Hun's thick neck. Wu Hun's just recovered head was torn off by Long Chen again. Ah! Wu Hun shouted. As soon as he was halfway there, his head was thrown out by Dragon Dust and kicked out. Hiss! At the moment of kicking and exploding the Black Hun's head, Long Chen grabbed the void. The headless body just integrated into the void was dragged out by Long Chen. Hiss! With a scream from Wu Hun, one of his thighs was torn off by the dragon dust, and the three-color blood sprinkled all over the void. But the three-color blood, spilled into the void, turned into three-color smoke in an instant, returned to Wu Hun again, and his disappeared body reappeared. In this world, no one can kill the great three links. You can't kill me, but I can kill your brother at any time. Black Hun roared. Under the attack of Long Chen, he didn't have the power to fight back, but he had a ferocious face and kept provoking Long Chen. In this world, there is no one I can't kill without dragon dust. Try my move again. Just then, the cold voice of the dragon dust came, and his hands closed. Behind the dragon dust, endless blood chains shot out. Emperor Blood Subdues the Devil. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4694. With the sound of dragon dust, countless bloody chains burst out, and endless blood gas was attached to each chain. When he saw these chains, Wu Hun's face changed greatly, and his body disappeared in a twinkling. But at the moment of his disappearance, a chain trembled suddenly, and the figure of Wu Hun disappeared was bounced back. This chain is made of my dragon blood. Although I am not a dragon, my blood essence is not as pure as that of the dragon. But I don't believe it. My dragon blood can't suppress you, traitor and bastard of the three links swallowing beast family. Dragon dust cold drink. Who, the endless chain tightened rapidly, didn't give Wu Hun time to react, and trapped him firmly for a moment. Hiss, hiss. When the chain tied Wu Hun, the lines of dragon scales appeared on the chain. It was like a red soldering iron, strangled into Wu Hun's flesh and blood. Ah! Wu Hun screamed bitterly. At this time, he had no arrogance before, and his eyes were full of fear. The blood of the three links swallowing beasts is ancient and noble, and the magical powers of the three links family are unpredictable. Since Wu Hun came out, he has never met an opponent, let alone an enemy who can force him into a desperate situation. But Long Chen's blood comes from the mysterious dragon strongman. Long Chen believes that the blood essence in his body will never be worse than anyone. Since ordinary supernatural powers can't kill Wu Hun, Long Chen directly uses his blood to compete with Wu Hun. There is no skill in this kind of hard struggle. Whoever has a strong blood will win. His breath is falling. Listening to Wu Hun's scream, Guo Ran and others shouted in surprise. Before, Wu Hun was injured continuously, but his breath didn't change. Now his breath began to decline, that is to say, the Black Hun can still be killed. What kind of immortal body? You have to die when you meet the boss. Cough. Gu Yang shouted. As a result, he affected the wound and coughed up blood, but he still couldn't hide the excitement in his eyes. Kill him together. Without this man, none of you can contain him. At this time, in the Gate of 9 Days, there was a sound of breaking drinking, which was the old man who had communicated with Luo Changxing before. Let's do it together and kill them all to prevent future trouble. Luo Changxing was the first to shoot. The 9-ring saber in his hand turned into a streamer. However, his blow was not directed at the dragon dust, but went straight to the Dragon Blood Legion. Long Chen was so angry that he didn't care to kill Wu Hun. He punched Luo Changxing's knife. Boom! When Long Chen was distracted from Luo Changxing, Wu Hun roared and broke free from the dragon blood chain. He opened his big hand and a dark long gun appeared in his hand. As soon as the long gun appeared, it shook the sky. Wu Hun finally showed his weapon, which was a terrible weapon. When Wu Hun injected his strength into the long gun, the 3 colors on the long gun flowed like a beast awakening, emitting endless fierce spirit. Boom! Wu Hun's spear surged and stabbed the Dragon Blood Legion. He knew that if he attacked the dragon dust would escape. It's better to attack the Dragon Blood Soldier and lead the dragon dust to save him. Poof! Dragon dust smashed with a fist, and the blood spattered. The Black Hun shot was shaken open by dragon dust, but the blood and flesh on dragon dust's fist were blurred and cracked by a long gun. Idiot! Do you think my spear is an ordinary holy soldier? If I didn't care about your heaven and earth tripod, I would kill you with all my strength. Dark muddy cold drink. Yes, Summon your heaven and earth tripod and let me erode the essence of the three links family to see what changes it will have, haha. With that, Wu Hun laughed and was extremely arrogant, looking like he had a winning ticket. You don't have to worry. He doesn't dare to use the heaven and earth tripod. Once the heaven and earth tripod is used, the Emperor Blood Silk Net of the Emperor will appear. At that time, the heaven and earth tripod will be taken away by the Emperor Blood Silk Net. The dark dragon heaven shines loudly. At the beginning, people were also very afraid of the Qinkuan tripod on Long Chen's body. They were afraid that the weapons in their hands would be broken. Although the Qinkuan tripod could not kill people, it had no effect on breaking each other's weapons. However, after hearing the two people's dialogue, they were immediately relieved. In that case, what are you waiting for? Blood sacrifice holy soldiers, kill them. They'll come first. At this time, the disciple of the falling sky knight sprayed a mouthful of blood on the Dan Ding in front of him. The mouthful of blood essence fell on the Dan Ding. The endless divine patterns on the Dan Ding lit up. The breath of the whole Dan Ding soared in an instant, and the divine chi radiated, and the real power belonging to the holy soldier was awakened. Holy soldiers, only the strong ones at the holy king level can give full play to their real strength, but the foundation of the falling knight is the 9-star destiny, which has broken through to the realm of God. When he sacrificed and refined holy soldiers with more than half of his essence blood, he can also awaken all the strength of holy soldiers. There is blood essence on my tripod. I don't think you dare to take my blow with the heaven and earth tripod. Go to hell. The disciples at sunset laughed ferociously and pushed the Dan tripod against the Dragon Blood Legion. Boom! The red tripod roared, and the momentum was startling. The holy weapon was activated. The light breath made people unable to move. When there was a startling explosion. Longchen hit the Dan Ding with a fist. The huge Dan Ding was stopped by Longchen with a fist. The power of one fist stopped the holy soldier. At that moment, people were shocked. What kind of body is it to catch the full blow of the holy soldier? This person cannot stay. Everyone came up with an idea. If Longchen leaves alive today, they will live in fear in the future. He dare not use the heaven and earth tripod. Let's go together. Luo Changxing sprayed a mouthful of blood on the sword and killed it. At this time, his attack was still not directed at the dragon dust, but at the dragon blood soldiers. After the temptation of the disciples of Luoshani, others also saw the opportunity and sacrificed blood to the holy soldiers one after another, ruthlessly killing the dragon dust. Boss, leave us alone. Remember to avenge us. Seeing this scene, the dragon blood soldiers gnashed their teeth. These people are so shameless that they dare not fight with dragon dust head-on, but use them as bait to lead dragon dust to rescue, which makes dragon dust extremely passive. Even if the 9 stars have the ability to face the 9 stars on the spot, they will have to face so much. Long Chen's figure flashed in front of Luo Changxing, and a gloomy smile appeared on the corners of Luo Changxing's mouth. Long Chen stopped at this time. It was the moment when his strength reached the peak. He came prepared, and Long Chen took it passively and hard. He knew that the war was over. Buzz, the 9 rings of the long knife in his hand trembled. At the same time, the golden bone claws on his head also lit up rapidly, and the breath of the 2 magic soldiers merged in an instant. Unexpectedly, my 2 magic soldiers are one set. When their power is integrated, no one in the world can block their power. You can rest in peace. Luo Changsheng's words fell. The 9-ring saber had been cut to the top of Longchen's head. He and 2 holy soldiers locked Longchen firmly and didn't give Longchen any chance at all. At this time, even if Longchen regretted it, it was too late. Buzz, in the face of Luo Changsheng's long-planned attack, Longchen's face was cold and his eyes were full of Senlung's killing intention. He opened his big hand, a long black knife appeared in his hand and cut face-to-face at Luo Changsheng's knife. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4695. When the black long knife appeared, the color of heaven and earth became dim because of it, and the holy soldiers all over the sky were eclipsed because of its appearance. When Long Chen covered the handle of the knife, a long-lost sense of familiarity surged into his heart. The picture of fighting side by side in Tianwu continent kept coming to mind. "Sorry I'm late." The voice of the Dragon Bone Evil Moon was apologetic. "It's not too late, just right. Can I burst out with all my strength?" Dragon Dust asked. "Of course, with me, you can use whatever strength you have." The Dragon Bone Evil Moon is in high spirits. "Well, if you and I meet again, let's start with a killing feast." Boom! When the Dragon Dust held the Dragon Bone Evil Moon, his whole momentum changed in an instant. Countless years of forbearance completely broke out at this moment. The dragon's keel was cut off by the Evil Moon, and the long knife in Luo Changsheng's hand broke instantly. At that moment, Luo Changsheng was stunned. Boom! The Dragon Bone Evil Moon broke the long knife and cut it on the bone claw on Luo Changsheng's head. The golden bone claw was cut into 2 pieces with one knife. Poof! The Dragon Bone Evil Moon fell from Luo Changsheng's head to his crotch, but there was no trace of blood on the Dragon Bone Evil Moon. Dragon Dust carried the Keel Evil Moon on his shoulder, 1 knife for each person, and the war spirit rushed into the sky. When he saw the figure carrying the big knife, the Dragon Blood soldiers burst into tears, and their boss came back again. Poof! At this time, Luo Changsheng's body was separated from the air. The 2 bodies were scattered. People had died and could not die anymore. His eyes were full of incredible colors. When he was dying, he couldn't believe why he died, not Dragon Dust. Suddenly, the strong men who followed Luo Changsheng's back changed their faces, but their moves had been used and could not be taken back at all, so they had to bite the bullet. The Dragon Emperor burns blood, and all roads are one. The Dragon Dust stopped drinking with a sound. There was blood spilling over his dragon scale and cloak. As soon as the blood spilled, it turned into a raging flame and began to burn. 5 in 1 opened the sky. The dragon's keel Evil Moon in the Dragon Dust's hand was cut horizontally, and a crescent flew out along the blade of the dragon's keel Evil Moon, covering all the enemies in front of him in an instant. Puff, puff. Countless powerful people with weapons turned into powder one after another. Tens of thousands of miles of crescent moon cut through the crowd and roared away, cutting the void in the distance into 2 parts. Heaven and earth were misplaced, and heaven and earth began to turn upside down. After this knife, countless Tianjiao were killed, leaving only a few sparse figures. Boom! Just then, a white bone war horse flew with 4 hooves and roared away with a bronze chariot. It was the 9 injuries of Yin that escaped. Boom! As a result, as soon as the carriage moved, a giant blade was cut off, and people, cars and horses were cut and exploded with a knife. Finally, they turned into endless dust and scattered one after another. As soon as the Dragon Dust figure shook, the Keel Evil Moon explored forward, and the sharp blade pierced the void. In the void slowly twisted, a figure slowly emerged. "If you stab me, I'll give you back." Long Chen's face was cold and gloomy. Looking at Ying Tian, who was picked on the tip of the knife, he was cold and cold. In the face of death, Ying Tian didn't show fear, but said faintly, "Today I admit I planted it, but it's not over. Do you know how many people there are behind the Gate of 9 Days? When the Gate of 9 Days opens, haha." Poof! Just when Ying Tian laughed, the Evil Moon in the Dragon Dust's hand shook, and Ying Tian burst into pieces. At the moment when Ying Tian burst into pieces, the Evil Moon crossed the world and cut off with endless dragon power. The Keel Evil Moon was cut on a long gun, which was instantly broken in 2. The Keel Evil Moon was cut on the black and muddy bald head, and the body was split in 2. However, the scene that shocked Long Chen himself appeared. Wu Hun's body didn't heal, and the 3-color god Hui also disappeared. He was hacked to death by Long Chen. This scene was not only unexpected to the Dragon Dust, but also shocked the Dragon Blood soldiers. "Isn't Wu Huan immortal? Why did you die suddenly?" "Evil Moon, do you?" The Dragon Dust was surprised. "Don't think about it. Those miscellaneous fish are going to run away." Suddenly, the blade of the dragon's keel Evil Moon swung across the void. 3 figures in the distance were cut into several sections by a knife. The figure was Minglong Tianzhao, Yan Tianhua and another strong man. Who, Long Chen's figure flashed and blocked the way of the two people. Fight with you. These two people are not others, but the disciples of Brahma and the disciples of Sunset Night. At this time, they look ferocious and offer Brahma God map and Dan Ding one after another. Poof poof, the Dan tripod and the Brahma divine figure were cut off by a knife, and they burst to pieces. In front of the dragon's keel evil moon, his holy soldiers were not enough to see. Who, after Brahma and the tripod were cut off, they began to burn themselves and turn into ashes in the void. Brahma and Sunset Night are smart. It's shameless that they can take things back after they are sent out. Dragon Dust sneered. While Long Chen killed them, he specially observed the Tiandao tree in the chaotic space. Long Chen found that when they died, the Tiandao tree did not respond. After their death, not only the power of weapons was recovered, but also the power in their bodies. Long Chen didn't get anything. This also shows that even his own disciples are just tools of Brahma. When the tools lose value, everything will be recovered. Boom! At this time, the whole world trembled and endless thunder emerged from the horizon, surrounding the whole world and forming a thunder aura. What's the situation? The robbery is not over yet? Guaran and others were shocked when they saw this scene. The thunder aura wrapped the whole world. In the thunder aura, it took people's heart and soul with the power of vast natural disaster. Puff puff. Dragon Dust killed all the monsters in Tianjia. The minions who had attacked the Dragon Blood Legion ran away. However, when they fled to a certain distance, they were shocked to find that there was an invisible wall of thunder in front of them. When they approached, they were shattered by the wall of thunder. Then the thunder aura began to shrink and press them back. In front of them was the terrible wall of thunder, and behind them was the god of death, Dragon Dust. They once participated in attacking the Dragon Blood Legion. Dragon Dust will not let them go. Whether they die in the aura of thunder or in the hands of Dragon Dust, they have been doomed to their fate. When Long Chen crossed the robbery, he secretly vowed that he would not let go of all the enemies here. So after the robbery, even if Long Chen was in danger, he didn't let Lei Linger do it, but asked her to secretly arrange and circle everyone. Let us go, we know we're wrong. Some strong people began to beg for mercy and admit their mistakes, but it didn't make any sense. They didn't really repent, but temporarily succumbed to fear of death. Long Chen ignored them and let Lei Linger destroy them all. At this time, the people who are killed by the 9 dragons are absolutely not above the power of the 9 dragons. At this time, the people who are killed by the thunder are absolutely not above the power of the 9 dragons. Dragon Dust, isn't it? What a cruel means, aren't you afraid of retribution? At this time, the roar came from the Gate of 9 Days. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4696, Dragon Dust, you bastard, kill innocent people indiscriminately. When the door of 9 days opens, you will be broken to pieces. You little beast who killed thousands of knives, I swear that when the door of 9 days is opened, it will cramp your soul and frustrate your bones and ashes. In the Gate of the 9 Days, there were countless roars. These roars were bloody and hysterical, as if they had a grudge against Dragon Dust. In fact, when Dragon Dust slaughtered a group of Tianjiao, the roar, curse and threat in the Gate of 9 Days never stopped. However, Long Chen only focused on killing people and didn't pay attention to what they said. Of course, even if he did, he wouldn't pay attention to them. Don't think about it. I also know that these people killed by Long Chen have something to do with those people behind the door, otherwise they wouldn't be so angry. Today, the strong in this world have been killed cleanly. Under Lei Linger's huge attack range, there is no fish that has escaped the net. The earth is full of corpses. Those who can leave corpses here are very powerful people. If they are not strong enough, they have no chance to leave corpses. Who? The Dragon Bone Evil Moon resists the Dragon Dust on his shoulder. The Dragon Dust moves towards the huge 9-day gate step by step. Now the 9-day gate is more and more crystal clear. You can see the dark crowd behind the gate through the gate. Strange, Doesn't it mean that only the son of 9 days can open the door of 9 days? Now everyone else is dead except the boss. Why can't the door of 9 days be opened? Xiaqin looked at the huge door of space and couldn't help looking puzzled. Previously, from the dialogue between Luo Changxing and others, they vaguely learned that the Gate of 9 Days is of great importance and is closely related to the legendary Son of 9 Days. Although they have never heard of the Son of 9 Days, when they hear the name, they know that it is absolutely unusual. Moreover, those who can know this secret power are not ordinary forces. Otherwise, they want know nothing in the name of Lingxiao Academy. Boom boom. When dragon dust came to the Gate of 9 Days, the strong people in the Gate of 9 Days became excited. Some creatures even began to attack the gate, as if they wanted to blow up the gate and kill dragon dust. However, the 9-day gate looks like a thin layer of ice, but no matter how the strong attack, it only shows ripples, but the gate remains motionless. Isn't it cool? Don't you always like the way others don't look at you, but you can't kill you? The Keel Evil Moon said with a smile. Hearing the words of the Dragon Bone Evil Moon, the anger in Longchen's heart subsided slightly. The words of the Dragon Bone Evil Moon reminded him of many stories in Tianwu continent. At that time, he was really like this. However, I don't know when he became more and more depressed. When he met the enemy, he just wanted to kill each other, not angry with each other. Am I old? Dragon Dust smiled bitterly. Not old but changed. You have become a little strange to me. Dragon Evil Moon family. At the beginning, the domineering, sinister and shameless Dragon Dust can still make himself happy no matter what kind of desperate situation he is in. Now your strength has become stronger, but I can't feel your happiness. Now you are like facing the abyss, walking on thin ice, looking forward and backward, worrying about gain and loss. It is no longer the Dragon Dust that was not afraid of the day and the earth, doing whatever you want and having no taboos. Dragon Evil Moon family. Maybe I wasn't mature enough at that time. Longchen sighed. He also missed himself at that time, but now. No, it has nothing to do with maturity, but you are not as confident as you were at the beginning. You were weak at the beginning, but you have the confidence to protect everything you want to protect. You are stronger now, but more and more timid. Don't you think that you are less and less like yourself, and gradually live like you once despised? Dragon Evil Moon family. Longchen was shocked, but she continued, you know a lot of truth. You can enlighten others, but you can't enlighten yourself. The so-called doctor does not cure himself. Your changes and your brothers and beauties are all in the eyes, but they dare not remind you or enlighten you. Because in their hearts, you are the invincible god of war and the perfect idol without defects. They are all waiting for the return of the former boss. Squeak, Long Chen's big hand tightly held the handle of the dragon's keel Evil Moon. He slowly closed his eyes. His clothes were windless and automatic, and his long hair fluttered slowly. An invisible breath was slowly blooming with Long Chen as the core. At this time, the dragon blood soldiers were scolding the strong in the Gate of 9 Days, especially Guoran. When the foam was flying, they suddenly shut up for a moment, and everyone looked at the dragon dust. At that moment, they seemed to see that two shadows of dragon dust were slowly overlapping in the void. When the two shadows completely overlapped, the breath of dragon dust changed from obscurity and introversion to sharpness. Once the dragon dust seemed to hide the knife in the scabbard. Now, this long knife finally shows its edge again and doesn't hide anymore. Boss, at that moment, the dragon blood soldiers were excited one by one, and many people's eyes were red. Although the boss was still the boss when they met Longchen again, they always felt that the boss now was somewhat different from that in the past. Now, the familiar breath came back, and the elated and arrogant dragon dust appeared again. At that moment, even the breath of the dragon blood soldiers changed. Thank you, Evil Moon. Dragon dust is sincere. Do we need to be so polite? Come on, I've been reborn and you've returned. From today on, well, turn the world over completely, ha. Keel Evil Moon laughed, because it had felt that the once dragon dust had come back. Dragon dust smiled. He turned to look at the dragon blood soldiers. He found that the breath of each dragon blood soldier had changed and became sharp. After sweeping away the previous decadence and depression, dragon dust woke up. He would affect the whole dragon blood army alone. At this time, the curse in the 9 days gate was still constant, because the dragon blood core did not scold back. They thought that the dragon blood core scolded, but they became more arrogant, more ugly and louder. Who? The evil moon in the dragon dust's hand pushed forward the gate of the 9 days. Poof! To everyone's surprise, the keel evil moon pierced the gate of 9 days. Red dragon wave. The dragon dust broke off drinking, and the violent power of dragon blood poured into the dragon's evil moon in an instant. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4697, Boom. I only heard the explosion in the 9 days gate, followed by endless blood splashing, like a little plum blossom, dyed the 9 days gate red. At the same time, the sound of screams and curses in the gate of 9 days was chaotic, and the previously dense figure was emptied in a moment. I don't know how many people were killed or how many people were shocked to fly. Through the 9-day gate, people can only see a chaotic scene, but they can't see the specific situation. Who? Dragon dust pulls back the dragon's keel evil moon. The wound stabbed by the dragon's keel evil moon on the gate of 9 days recovers immediately. Although the blow of dragon dust can attack the strong one opposite, it can't cause damage to the gate of 9 days. Don't waste your energy. When you're ready, you'll give it a gift. Suddenly, the heaven and earth tripod opened its mouth. Buzz. Before Long Chen knew what was going on, the heaven and earth tripod appeared on the top of Long Chen's head. At the moment of its appearance, Long Chen immediately felt bad. Sure enough, the heaven and earth tripod had just appeared. Under the distortion of the void, a bloody net came to cover him head-on. Dragon dust was surprised. It was too sudden. He said to let him prepare, but he didn't give him time to prepare at all. Just as Long Dust was about to use the Eye of Purgatory, he suddenly shouted in surprise, "And this good thing?" Buzz. The dragon bone evil moon broke away from the dragon dust's big hand and stabbed the bloody net. When the bloody net saw the dragon bone evil moon, it seemed that it became frightened and was about to fly away. But the dragon bone evil moon has stabbed the royal blood silk net. The crescent blade at the top of the dragon bone evil moon hooks the silk screen, and it can't break free at all. Hiss hiss. When the royal blood silk net was caught by the dragon bone evil moon, it even emitted light smoke and began to melt slowly. Finally, it was absorbed by the dragon bone evil moon. Ah, that's good, that's good. Your broken tripod is very interesting. I remember this favor. After the dragon bone evil moon absorbed the imperial blood silk net, there was a mesh pattern around her body. Its breath became more terrible. She laughed and thanked the heaven and earth tripod. Called the broken tripod, the heaven and earth tripod was not angry and asked, "Don't you know me?" The dragon bone evil moon was stunned. That's all right. The heaven and earth tripod finished and directly returned to the soul space of Longchen. Inexplicable, the dragon bone evil moon was speechless. After thinking carefully, he really didn't know the bronze tripod. The dragon dust was also shocked by the action of Qian Kuan-ding. It seems that Qian Kuan-ding knows the dragon keel evil moon. Is there any secret between them? At this time, the sound of drinking and scolding came from the gate of 9 days. The dragon dust was very angry, and the dragon bone evil moon stabbed into the gate of 9 days again. When the keel evil moon stabbed into the gate of the 9 days, the sound of drinking and scolding on the opposite side turned into a scream. The dragon dust didn't attack. The people on the opposite side seemed to be scared to flee and calm down at once. Evil moon, can't we really break this gate? Dragon dust couldn't help asking. I don't understand this. Why don't you ask the tripod? Keel evil moon family said he didn't know. Before Longchen asked, Qian Kuan-ding replied, "This gate is a sacrificial gate. The so-called son of 9 days is nonsense. It's a pit at all. You killed so many people and still didn't open them, indicating that the number of sacrifices is still not enough. I estimate that all the people inside and outside the door have been cheated. Unless there are a large number of sacrifices in the door, it will speed up the opening of the 9-day gate. However, the 9-day gate has been activated. It seems that it will open automatically in a short time. Without any interference, the door will be fully opened in 1 month or 3 months. At that time, the 9-day world will be completely connected. The gate of 9 days links the world of 9 days? Dragon Dust asked. For the gate of 9 days, the channel of 9 days and the world of 9 days, Dragon Dust has always been dizzy and still doesn't know why. Behind the gate of 9 days is the 9th day of the 9-day world, the Emperor's Day, which is also the highest plane in the 9 days. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Behind this door is the last day of 9 days? And the highest level? Dragon Dust was shocked. This is the ultimate world in 9 days. No, since it is the ultimate world, the people inside should enjoy the best resources in the 9-day world. They should be afraid of robbing their resources after we enter. Why are they eager to open the door of the world? Dragon Dust asked. This is where Long Chen can't figure it out, because before, the strong people in the door were eager to open the gate of 9 days. Because the 9 days are one, even if the Emperor is the ultimate world, but without the other 8 days, its law is not complete after all. Therefore, when the 9 days are connected, the incomplete part of the Emperor's heaven will be completed. The Emperor's heaven, which has been silent for hundreds of millions of years, will usher in a nirvana rebirth, and the environment is likely to be comparable to the chaotic era. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Chaotic age? Dragon Dust was completely stunned. However, this time is very short, maybe only a few hundred years, or even shorter. Therefore, people in chaotic space look forward to the opening of the 9-day gate more than you. In addition to this reason, there is an urgent problem to be solved for the strong inside, that is, the Emperor's heaven is a relatively complete day in 9 days. During the War of All Souls in the chaotic era, countless chaotic races were left here. At the same time, there were fierce demons outside the sky. The creatures in the Emperor's heaven were also hard to suffer. They were struggling to support and avoid being destroyed by other races. Once the gate of 9 days is opened, all the creatures in the world will pour into the Emperor and return to their ancestors, and the major forces will grow rapidly. There are endless resources in the Emperor's heaven, but because of the perennial war and the lack of people, it is difficult to really grow up. Therefore, life is extremely difficult, and they also urgently hope that you will enter the 9-day world. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Hearing the words of the Heaven and Earth tripod, the Dragon Dust suddenly realized that the tone of the Heaven and Earth tripod almost turned the Emperor's heaven into a wilderness. The major forces are only reluctantly protecting themselves in the Emperor's heaven, and some weak forces either depend on those major forces or struggle to survive in various wars. No wonder those strong people in the Gate of 9 Days are so eager to open the Gate of 9 Days. They are in urgent need of support. Cut, how strong do you think they are with such a hard mouth? A group of idiots. At this time, the threatening words of these people sounded, and a touch of sarcasm appeared at the corners of Long Chen's mouth. By the way, Senior, what's the situation with my partners? Dragon Dust suddenly thought of them. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4698. This time, it can be said that the robbery is extremely dangerous. Without their help and sharing the power of the robbery, Dragon Dust will really hate the robbery. The Heaven and Earth tripod transformed by the Tianjie was extremely violent. The Dragon Dust could not digest in a moment and was almost burst. They have entered the world of 9 days. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Already in? Dragon Dust was surprised. In fact, although the 9-day world is closed, there are still many gaps between the 9 days. For hundreds of millions of years, people in the Emperor's heaven have been looking for an exit and people outside have been looking for an entrance. In fact, some forces have found a way to cross the world barrier and enter the 9-day world. However, although the way has been found, you need opportunities to enter, such as your grandfather. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. My grandfather? Dragon Dust suddenly looked enlightened. It turned out that everything Grandpa did was to enter the Emperor's heaven, or the whole purple blood family was working hard for this goal. Long Chen once remembered that Grandpa said that some people were trapped in the cracks of the world. It was likely that there was an accident when they broke through the channel, resulting in no advance or retreat and a line of life and death. But these were all guessed by Long Chen, because Luo Zichuan didn't say it in detail at that time, or Luo Zichuan may know only so much. Then my grandfather him? Long Chen asked tentatively. Heaven and Earth Ding said, there are some things you don't need to ask. Hearing the answer of Chen Kuan Ding, Long Chen was relieved. Long Chen still understood some secret words after dealing with Chen Kuan Ding for so long. Many words of the heaven and earth tripod are rather obscure. In fact, it is to avoid the capture of the heavenly way and infect the dragon dust with cause and effect. However, there are some secret words, which are difficult to be captured by the heavenly way. This sentence of Chen Kuan Ding seems to have answered nothing, but it has given the answer. If Luo Zichuan has an accident, Chen Kuan Ding will answer. Everything is a code word such as fixed number. There is no need to ask, just don't worry. This shows that everything is going well in Luo Zichuan. At the thought of this grandpa, Long Chen admires him from the bottom of his heart. Both grandpa and his father are his admirers. They are both great wizards and brilliant enough to be on a par with the great emperor. Will it be dangerous for them to enter the emperor's heaven one step ahead of us? Dragon Dust asked. Don't worry. The reason why they can find the link channel is that someone must respond internally. Otherwise, they can't find the space node at all and can't build the channel with the help of the force of natural disaster. They didn't enter the emperor's heaven alone, but they moved together. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Knowing that people are not in danger, Long Chen is relieved. In fact, Long Chen still has many questions in his heart, but it is too hard to communicate with Kaian Kunding. It will say a lot of ambiguous words. Rao is based on Long Chen's intelligence. If he wants to get a headache, he needs to keep guessing and analyzing. Long Chen simply doesn't ask. Buzz, at this time, the whole world trembled. At first, Long Chen and others were startled. Suddenly, everyone was wrapped by the power of space. Don't panic, we're going to be transmitted. The dragon dust cried and asked the people not to resist. If the space transmission was interrupted, they would stay here all the time. Boom! Suddenly, the space around the dragon dust burst into pieces, and an invisible suction sucked the dragon dust into a vortex. At that moment, the world was dark, and the dragon dust could no longer see others. The powerful pulling force kept the space twisted, and the dragon dust seemed to fall into an endless abyss. Suddenly the suction force disappeared, and the familiar spatial fluctuation appeared again. It was the breath of Ming Haotian, and the dragon dust was transmitted back to Ming Haotian. Senior brother Long Chen. When Long Chen appeared, there was a sound of cheering in the distance. Long Chen followed his reputation and found that the disciples of the academy, the disciples of the war temple and the disciples of Xinghe's sect had gathered together. Originally, they looked anxious and were relieved to see Long Chen appear. It turned out that they hid after completing the robbery in the virtual spirit world, because Long Chen said that as long as they can come out alive, they will win. As for those treasures, they are extraneous things. Don't be too greedy. Accept them when they are good. Some treasures are not strong enough. Even if you get them, you'll die to enjoy them. They remember the words of Long Chen and never conflict with powerful creatures. Treasure hunting is also careful. They linger until the end and are transmitted. It has to be said that it is not a shame to stay alive. At least 8 of them have returned alive, while most of the strong people of other ethnic groups are less than half alive. Even some forces, hundreds of thousands of them, only hundreds of them have returned. What's more, they have been completely destroyed. They were the first wave to be transmitted. When they saw countless forces and suffered heavy casualties, they gradually became worried about Long Chen and others because they didn't see the Dragon Blood Legion for a long time. When Luo Bing, Luo Ning and others saw the figure of Long Chen appear, they all cried with joy. After entering the Jiutian channel, they knew how terrible the strong ones inside were. Hoo-hoo! After the appearance of Dragon Dust, the Dragon Blood Legion also appeared one after another. When the Dragon Blood Legion appeared, Luo Bing and others' hearts jumped wildly, because except for dragon dust, all others were wounded and covered with blood. Many people's weapons were broken, and some people's swords broke countless gaps, just like saws. At this time, the Dragon Blood soldiers were depressed. They had just experienced a big war and overdrawn their bodies. If they had not been supported by strong willpower, they would have passed out. As soon as they appeared, they found something wrong, because countless strong people surrounded the people on the side of the academy. There was a big disagreement and the posture of direct action. From the posture of Luo Bing and others, we can see that these strong people are definitely not good people. They seem to be waiting for opportunities. When the Dragon Blood Legion appeared and saw the situation of the Dragon Blood soldiers, these creatures immediately showed fierce light and surrounded from all directions. A group of people who don't know how to live or die dare to show their teeth and claws in front of me. Even the injured dragon can't be provoked by you ants. Seeing surrounded by people, Guoran was furious. The strength of this group of people is average, and the strongest one is just the 5-star destiny. If they didn't deserve to give them shoes at ordinary times, they are now regarded as prey by this group of people, and they are immediately angry. Protect senior brother Longchen, Luo Bing stopped drinking, and everyone immediately put on a posture to protect the Dragon Blood Legion in the middle. You're wrong, Longchen shook his head. What? Luo Bing was stunned. The people to be protected are them. Longchen smiled, and then a beautiful shadow appeared beside Longchen. Lei Linger's hands were sealed and broke his drink. Thunderstorm storm, boom. Without warning, endless thunder fell from the sky and went straight into the crowd. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4699, Puff, Puff. When the thunder pours down, those who are hit by the thunder will burst into slag in an instant. You know, today's Thunderling is not the Thunderling sun. This time, she devoured countless thunder essence and possessed the strength of Sekil. These people are much weaker than those in front of the 9 Days Gate. They can't resist the thunder. When the thunder poured down, these strong people didn't even have a chance to resist, so they were blown to powder. The battle ended before it started. Millions of strong people were emptied in a moment. Luo Bing and others were stunned. However, the Dragon Blood soldiers were used to it. Although they were overdrawn, it was not difficult to kill them as long as they clenched their teeth and insisted. Go back to the academy first, Longchen rode. Although he is not afraid of anyone now, the Dragon Blood Legion is exhausted and needs to rest quickly. All the array plates are used up. Sorry, we can only go back by flying boat. Xiachen apologized. The transmission array needs to consume the array disk, and Xiachen's array disk is completely used up in front of the 9 Days Gate, but it is still broken by Wu Hun's fist, which makes him suffer a great blow and feel very shameless. Fortunately, this is Ming Haoyan, which is also safe. Xiachen calculated the location and found that this is not the place where he entered the Jiutian channel. No wonder no one came to pick him up. After calculating the position, the people got on the flying boat and went straight to Lingshao Academy. When Longchen and others left for half an hour, countless strong people came at a gallop. These strong men have a vigorous breath. Many of them are immortal strong men, and many saints. They came as soon as they received the signal from their disciples. It turned out that the strong here saw that the disciples of the academy gathered here and wanted to annihilate them together. They immediately informed the strongest in the sect and wanted to annihilate them before the strong of Lingshao Academy came. Originally, they were afraid of the Dragon Blood Legion, but when they saw that the Dragon Blood Legion was so weak, they couldn't help but start directly, thinking that their strength was enough to eat, but unexpectedly, they sent their lives here. When these people arrived, there was scorched earth on the earth, and thunder arcs flashed on the ground from time to time, as if someone had just been robbed here. They didn't see their own people but picked up some disabled soldiers. Their people didn't even leave their bones. At that moment, they were completely stupid. At the same time, the bottom of their heart was sinking, and their faces showed fear. When Longchen and others returned to Lingshao Academy, Bai Shishir and others were surprised that the old dean, Bai Zhantong, Bai Shishi's mother and Bai Xiaole's mother didn't appear. Only the vice dean came out to meet them. Bai Shishir and Bai Xiaole's eyes were obviously lost. This trip to the 9-day channel was a narrow escape. Especially in front of the 9-day gate, both sister and brother thought they would never see their parents again. Now returning to the academy is like a separated life. The longing for parents soared to the extreme in an instant. Even the strongest people want to be comforted by their closest people after they narrowly escaped death. There must be a reason why they didn't come. Don't worry. When Long Chen saw Bai Shishi's eyes were red and his face was lost, he couldn't help comforting him softly. At the same time, he also patted Bai Xiaola on the shoulder to make him stronger. In fact, Bai Shishir and Bai Xiaola are both big children. They can't compare with the dragon blood soldiers who go through life and death all year round. At this time, they need more comfort. After the dragon blood soldiers returned, they immediately began to close down and repair, while Long Chen took a day off with Bai Shishir, Yu Qingxian and Bai Xiaola, talked with them about what happened in the Jiutian channel, stabilized their mind and calmed their emotions, and then let them close down. When Long Chen returned, he also felt that something was wrong with Lingshao Academy. The atmosphere was strange, and many familiar faces were gone. However, Long Chen didn't pay much attention to them. He learned about their situation with Luo Bing and others. Only then did he know that Luo Bing and others had also encountered countless dangers. Fortunately, they kept Long Chen's words in mind and didn't have a large-scale treasure hunt. Because wherever treasures gather, it will inevitably cause the peep of countless strong people. The mantis catches cicadas and yellow finches behind, but no one knows who is the yellow finch in the end. Even if the yellow finch finally got the treasure, they all paid a terrible price. Luo Bing and others do not have that strength. If they find the treasure, once they are greedy, it will be dangerous. Whenever they encounter the competition for treasures, they immediately hide far away, but even so, they still meet with many powerful terrorists and survive after several bloody battles. It has to be said that the world inside the 9-day channel is too dangerous. Luck accounts for a great part in their survival. However, Luo Bing and others did not compete with others for treasure, but they also gained a lot. Some obtained holy level magic soldiers, some found treasure medicine, and others found bone books. Everyone was very excited and kept showing off in front of Dragon Dust. Finally, these people took out all the treasures obtained in the 9-day channel. Even Longshan couldn't help sighing. Many people didn't have much strength, but their luck was really good. Many babies, even Longshan, were a little excited. Elder Martial Brother Longshan, look at these treasures. What can you use? Take them all. A disciple of the academy was sincere. He gained the most this time and handed them all over. He is a loyal admirer of Dragon Dust. He takes out all the treasures he has obtained without leaving them. He has absolute trust in Dragon Dust. My treasure is the same. As long as senior brother Longshan needs it, take it and take it all. Ha! Other disciples also shouted one after another. The disciples of the academy, the Hall of the God of War and the disciples of Xinghe sect who repaired in Lingshao Academy were all very excited. Dragon Dust wants their things. Besides, he doesn't know how many treasures he has searched in it. It can be said that he is very rich. Dragon Dust doesn't accept it, but the people are not happy. They think that if Dragon Dust doesn't accept it, they look down on them. Dragon Dust has no way. Among their treasures, they choose some precious medicines they don't have. He really can't use other things. There are many treasures here that you can't use for the time being. For example, bone books need to be translated, holy soldiers need awakener spirits, minerals need to be refined, etc. You might as well give it to the academy and let the predecessors of the academy help you translate the bone book and awaken the spirit. If it is suitable for you, you can use it yourself. If you can't use it yourself, discuss with the academy and exchange your treasure for what you need. As far as I know, the academy has a secret treasure house. I believe there must be something you need. With the reputation of the academy, you don't have to worry about losses. I guarantee my personality and exchange treasures with the academy. You will only take advantage and won't lose money. Long Chen smiled. When Long Chen said this, everyone's eyes brightened. Originally, they had many treasures. They didn't know the name, let alone the origin and purpose. As Longchen said, it's better to let the academy identify. Keep what you can use and exchange what you can't use for something useful. As a result, all the people flocked to the Jianbao Pavilion of the academy, and the team was lined up for hundreds of miles. The Jianbao Pavilion was originally the most leisurely department in the academy, but it was busy all of a sudden. Longchen saw that the efficiency was too low. He directly asked the academy to ask Huayun firm for help. As soon as Longchen came up with the idea, the strong people of Jianbao Pavilion were overjoyed and immediately went to invite someone. It has to be said that Huayun firm's efficiency is amazing. In less than an hour, dozens of appraisers came, but seeing the long team and everyone can pull out dozens or even hundreds of treasures to identify, they immediately felt great pressure and asked the headquarters for help again and sent more appraisers for support. Just when Jianbao Pavilion was busy smoking, Longchen hesitated and finally didn't choose to jump the queue, because he also had some treasures in his hand, and he couldn't tell the origin and wanted to identify them. However, there must be many treasures in the hands of the dragon blood soldiers. Just wait until they leave the customs and study it together. Longchen is also ready to close the customs and consolidate the realm. When Longchen returns to his residence, he suddenly moves in his heart and walks to the academy square. Master Jinyuan. When Longchen came to the square, he saw the master of the clean house who was sweeping the floor with his head down. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4700. As in the past, as like as 2 peas in the sweep of the square, he was very single, but it was extremely precise. The frequency of swing, the amplitude of the swing, the distance and the curve of the broom sweeping from the ground, were all the same, not many, a few. When Longchen arrived, the master of the clean house slowly stopped his movements and looked up at Longchen. When he looked at Longchen, he was a little stunned. A smile gradually appeared on his face and nodded. It seems that you have gained a lot this time. You have recovered what you lost. Congratulations. The voice of the master of the clean house was full of praise, but his heart jumped wildly in the ears of Longchen. The master of the clean house made a pun, which is thought-provoking. The so-called lost thing in his mouth seems to refer to the dragon's evil moon, his lost confidence, or other things. Longchen found that when an expert speaks, it is always incomprehensible, whether it is the master of the clean house or the heaven and earth tripod. Good luck, little harvest. Longchen said with a smile. By the way, Master Jinyuan, can I ask Master Dean, where are they? The master of the clean house smiled and said, the door of 9 days appears. The opportunity is not focused on your generation. If you eat meat, others also want to drink soup. Can it be said that? Longchen's heart was shocked. The opening of the door of 9 days was a great opportunity for Longchen and others, and the strong men of the Dean, Bai Zhantong and a group of academies suddenly disappeared. It seems that they are also impacting the world of 9 days like Longchen and others. The door of creation will not be opened for one person. Heroes compete for the deer, and hundreds of boats compete for the stream. The way of heaven changes rapidly and cannot be pondered. The life and death, honor and disgrace of all spirits in the world seem to be controlled by the way of heaven. In fact, their rise and fall are the source of power to promote the operation of the way of heaven. The world will never be owned by one person. All souls constitute the world, and the world will always belong to all souls. Therefore, the way of heaven is fair. It gives everyone the opportunity, but whether you can seize it depends on your personal ability. Surprisingly, Master Jinyuan spoke for a long time this time. Longchen heard from the master of the clean house that the way of heaven is fair. Although he has great respect for the master of the clean house, he still feels a little uncomfortable and can't help saying, at least for me, the way of heaven has never been fair. Oh? Asked Master Jinyuan. Because it is deliberately aimed at me and wants to kill me, and its means are despicable and extreme. Dragon Dust Way. Remembering that he almost succumbed to death in the disaster, Dragon Dust was full of fire. His robbery is not a robbery at all, but a cheating murder. What's fair? Who is it? Asked Master Jinyuan. The way of heaven. How do you know it is the way of heaven? Master Jingyuan asked again. In addition to the way of heaven, who can affect the will of Tianjia? Dragon Dust asked. How do you know that no one can influence the will of Tianjia except the way of heaven? Master Jinyuan, take your time. This. Longchen looked at Master Jinyuan and his heart jumped wildly. Master Jinyuan has something to say. Is it true that someone is affecting the robbery? Have you ever been wronged? Asked Master Jinyuan. Longchen nodded. Have you ever been impersonated? Longchen nodded. The master of the clean house smiled and said, the Tao of Heaven is ignorant of its beginning and its end. The end of ignorance is ignorant of its source. Its greatness has no outside and its smallness has no inside. Under heaven, you and I are all well frogs and summer insects. We can't talk about the sea and ice. The bright sun is in the sky, shining for thousands of miles, but it also has dark corners that it can't shine. Water moistens heaven and earth, and nourishes the common people. There are also places that cannot be moistened in deserts and wastelands. There are many things we can't see in this world. We can't deny them directly because we can't see them. And some things, when we see it, will also have a huge deviation when we measure my world with a ruler. Long Chen's heart jumped wildly, and the master of the clean house thought provoking. This is enlightening him and pointing out his cognitive mistakes. The way he thinks of heaven may not be the real way of heaven. In other words, the way of heaven in each population is different. Therefore, there is a way to be a way. There is an extraordinary way. The way is right there. It can only be meaningful and unspeakable. If it is said, then this way is no longer the original way. Since he entered the practice world, Longchen has been targeted by heaven's robbery. He narrowly escaped death countless times and was plagued with bad luck all his life. Longchen firmly believes that the Tao of Heaven is aimed at him. This idea is deeply rooted in Longchen. But the words of the master of the clean house made Longchen have a new understanding. Since the way of heaven is so big, there is no inside or outside, no beginning and no end, and any creature is as small and ignorant as a well frog and summer insect in front of it, how can it be controlled by others? But Tianjia is really aimed at it. There is no doubt about it. According to the master of Jingyuan, Tiandao can't be controlled, but Tianjia seems to be able to. Thank you for reminding me. I feel much more comfortable when I open the cottage. Longchen looked grateful. Dragon Dust has been targeted by the natural disaster and is full of resentment towards the world. He has been a little flustered in his heart. However, after the words of the master of the clean house, he immediately felt relieved and the whole person was much more relaxed. You are a person who will repay your kindness and repay your grievances. The so-called grievance has a head and the debt has a owner. Don't get the wrong object. The master of the clean house smiled. Certainly not in the future. Longchen laughed. The emergence of the Gate of 9 Days indicates that the world has entered a stage of blooming flowers, and the strong people who were born out of time have also ushered in new opportunities. At that time, the whole world will enter an unprecedented prosperity and bring unprecedented challenges. Now, some people have entered the imperial heaven through secret channels, and they have won at the starting line. When you enter the emperor's heaven, you are likely to encounter their interception. You don't want to give you a chance to grow. You should be mentally prepared. The clean courtyard is a great humanitarian. So insidious? Dragon Dust was stunned. However, at the thought of their confidants, they have entered the 9-day world first. It seems that they have nothing to worry about. Who dares to beat their daughters-in-law to their knees and beg for mercy? The Dean and the Hall Lord also entered the Emperor's heaven first to pave the way for us? Dragon Dust suddenly thought of a possibility and asked. The master of the clean house smiled and didn't speak. He picked up the broom and continued to bend down to sweep the floor. Longchen suddenly realized that the layout of the emotional academy was more far-reaching than he thought. After returning to his residence, Longchen directly entered the closed gate. He wanted to stabilize the realm as quickly as possible. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 47:01 Boom, Boom. The breath in the body of dragon dust flows like a running river, which goes round and round. With the flow of breath, the violent pressure rages and washes the heaven and earth continuously. Long Chen didn't shut up in the secret room, but came to a peak on the back mountain of the academy to practice. This is the forbidden area for the disciples of the academy, because it is not far from the breath of the colorful cranes. The academy is afraid that the disciples will disturb them. But Long Chen is different. Long Chen is the only person in the academy who is liked by colorful cranes. Therefore, he can be closed here. The mighty pressure kept surging, but with the breath in the body of dragon dust, it kept flowing and went round and round. Every day, the breath of dragon dust became softer. This is the only way to consolidate the realm. No matter what level of practitioners, no matter what kind of genius, just promoted, they will encounter unstable breath and uncontrollable phenomenon. It's like a beggar who suddenly gets countless money. It's impossible to make rational use of these wealth at once. The same is true for practitioners. Their essence, Qi and God need to adapt to and digest the soaring power. When all practitioners are just promoted, their breath is scattered and looks amazing, but their power cannot be concentrated and their destructive power is limited. Only by adapting to the soaring power can their power be brought into play, and the dragon dust is making the breath belonging to the powerful God run in the body without mentioning, so that its essence and spirit can adapt to it and control it. Every time the breath runs for a week, the control power of Long Chen is strong. Until it is completed in 36 weeks, Long Chen feels that the whole person's spirit is shocked. Long Chen stood up. At that moment, all his breath disappeared. At this time, he had fully controlled all the forces of God's realm and could send and receive freely. It'll go so soon? I'll admire myself. Just 36 weeks, more than an hour, has consolidated the realm, and Long Chen himself was surprised. In the past, it took at least a few days for Long Chen to consolidate his realm. Long Chen was suddenly stunned. Is it the blood essence of the elders of the dragon family? Dragon dust stretched out his big hand, and the bloody scales covered his palm in an instant. Almost the moment when dragon dust used his idea, the scales appeared automatically. It was completely different from the previous need to use the power of dragon blood first, and then remove the meaning blood to coagulate the scales. The heart moves with the mind, and the power comes from the heart. Good guy, when did my body become so strong? Dragon dust's heart jumped wildly. Come again, Buzz Dragon Dust's big hand opened, and a flame lotus appeared in an instant. It seemed that there was no formation process. When the palm opened, it was already there. Not only my own power, but also the power of Huelinger. Dragon Dust was ecstatic. Buzz, Dragon Dust's big hand trembled slightly. Next to the flame lotus, another thunder light appeared. Two different forces can be summoned in an instant. Buzz, the dragon dust's big hand vibrates, the thunder light ball and the flame lotus merge and expand rapidly. As soon as the dragon dust's big hand closes, the flame and thunder disappear in an instant. This is great. Dragon Dust himself was stunned. This power transformation seemed to have been engraved into the depths of dragon dust. Just move your mind and your body will naturally respond. Buzz, Dragon Dust's hands are sealed, and the divine ring appears behind it. However, different from the past, Dragon Dust begins to seal after the divine ring appears. They'll go. I don't need to seal in the future. Dragon Dust didn't expect that such a change had taken place in himself this time. He was confused. These abilities seem to be engraved in the soul of Long Chen. This ability seems to be his or not. Long Chen thought of the blood essence left to him by the strong dragon family. Is this the instinctive awakening in the blood? Dragon Dust hurried to look inside and check his blood. Dragon Dust found that in his dragon blood, there were countless dragon runes circulating, just like a real dragon swimming. On these runes, Long Chen saw a scene that shocked him. Purple and colored lines appeared in these dragon blood runes. The line is like a ribbon, which is engraved in the dragon blood rune. Seeing the purple and colored lines, the dragon dust was stunned. That's my purple blood and colorful supreme blood. Dragon Dust's heart jumped wildly. Dragon Dust observed carefully and found that his colorful supreme blood and purple blood were not washed away, but integrated into the dragon blood rune. Although they seem to be sealed and their living space has been compressed to the extreme, they are still tenacious, and Longchen can feel their vigorous vitality. Purple blood and colorful supreme blood are still there, and under the suppression of dragon blood, it seems to be experiencing some kind of nirvana and transformation, which makes Dragon Dust surprised and happy. Colorful supreme blood and purple blood are precious gifts given to him by his parents. At the beginning, the strong emperor wanted to wash them off, and Longchen directly fought with him. It can be seen how much Longchen cares. Haha. Longchen looked up and laughed. Shit, from today on, I announce that the third master of Tianwu mainland has returned. At this time, he was full of confidence. Now the Keel Evil Moon returned and his strength was higher. There was nothing to fear in the world. There's so much noise here that little Crane can't not know. She didn't come out. She should still be sleeping. Longchen looked at the distance, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. At the thought of Zahir's face like a porcelain doll, Longchen's heart was full of warmth. For such a long time in the virtual spirit world, Longchen suddenly misses this girl, especially her big water-lingling eyes, which are always so popular. Being looked at by her, it seems that she can wash away all her troubles and worries. Dragon Dust, you have made great progress in cultivation and strength. Don't you want to do something at this time? Suddenly, the voice of the dragon's evil moon came from behind the Dragon Dust. Since the First World War, the dragon evil moon has been carried behind by the Dragon Dust. The shape of the dragon evil moon is too arrogant, and its evil spirit is soaring and its killing intention is diffuse. At first glance, it is a terrorist and fierce soldier. The Dragon Dust doesn't want to show off so much and carries him on his back. But the Keel Evil Moon insisted that he carry it on his back. The Keel Evil Moon has two reasons. First, after so long separation, the soul of the Keel Evil Moon is still the Keel Evil Moon, but the body is no longer the original Keel Evil Moon. They are carried by the Dragon Dust. Their breath is always connected and integrated with each other, so they can adapt to each other faster. The second reason is that the Dragon Bone Evil Moon doesn't want to stay with the Heaven and Earth tripod. In its words, it always feels that the Heaven and Earth tripod is a dead old guy, and after its nirvana rebirth, the moisture is booming and can't pee in the same pot with it. Hearing the second reason of the Dragon Bone Evil Moon, Longchen was immediately unable to laugh or cry. Are you kidding? It's the top 10 chaotic artifact. You despise it? By the way, Evil Moon, how did you kill Wu Huan at the beginning? At the thought of the top 10 chaotic artifact, Longchen's heart moved. At the beginning, Wu Hun said that only the top 10 chaotic artifact could kill the Three Lynx family, but he was killed by the Dragon Bone Evil Moon. What's the situation? You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4702. Cut, you said the bald head? Keel Evil Moon disdains tunnel. Don't listen to his boasting. I tell you, I swallowed hundreds of millions of dragon souls and gained countless memories. In my cognition, there can be no immortal creatures in this world. As long as it is tangible, it will eventually be destroyed. Only intangible things will last forever. What do you mean by invisibility? The Dragon Dust's heart moved. He found that the dragon's Keel Evil Moon was really different from before. Its cognition seemed to have reached a height that he couldn't reach, such as jealousy, hatred, greed, desire, and so on. Dragon Evil Moon family. Why are they all negative? A burst of no dust dragon language. Because that's all I have. Dragon Evil Moon family. There's expectation, protection, trust, sacrifice, isn't there? The Dragon Dust smiled and said, this is the portrayal between him and the Evil Moon. Don't be disgusted. I'm anxious to mention these words again. I'm not who I used to be, so I won't do stupid things. Dragon Bone Evil Moon anger family. Dragon Dust smiled and the familiar feeling came back. This is nature. No matter how many dragon souls it swallowed and what kind of body it occupied, The evil moon is the evil moon after all. Its essence has not changed, and it is still his most trusted partner. Don't laugh. Let's get down to business. We meet again. I changed my body and you have been reborn. At this time, if you don't do something important, are you sorry for our suffering? Dragon Evil Moon Family. What do you think? Dragon Dust asked. Is there any enemy? Revenge. Dragon Evil Moon Family. It seems that there are no enemies. Basically, all those who should be killed have been killed. Long Chen thought for a moment, but he really can't remember his enemies. What about those who shouldn't be killed? Keel Evil Moon Interface Road. Hold the grass. Even if we have strength, we can't kill innocent people indiscriminately. Are you crazy? Dragon Dust jumped up at once. Cough, slip of the tongue. Did you kill it? You know, cut the grass without removing the roots, and the spring wind blows again. The Dragon Bone Evil Moon is in a hurry. Yes, but they are all rookies. Dragon Dust pondered for a moment. Those who had enemies with him were killed at the leader level. I don't know whether these forces are still there. It's okay for a rookie. No matter how small the mosquito is, it's also meat. Dragon Evil Moon Family. What's the situation? Why are you so anxious to kill? Dragon Dust put the evil moon in front of him and couldn't help saying. Isn't it because I didn't enjoy killing in the virtual spirit world last time? Those guys are so useless. They all died before you and I helped. The most important thing is that last time you were working hard, and my life rune has not been activated. Everything is over. Do you say I feel bad? Dragon Evil Moon Family. Dragon Dust suddenly realized that he understood that Evil Moon had just controlled the magic weapon, and it had not yet explored the new body. If it wants to explore, it needs Dragon Dust to cooperate with it. Listening to its tone, it can adapt faster only in the fight and killing. Unfortunately, the Dragon Dust was too strong at that time. As soon as the Dragon Dust Evil Moon appeared, the thunderbolt cracked and solved all the enemies. The Dragon Dust Evil Moon ended before it entered the state, so it was unwilling and wanted to collude with Dragon Dust to kill. I think at this time, you should be more relieved to refine pills. After all, it's much more difficult for you to improve your realm than others. You shouldn't waste your energy on a group of rookies. Just then, the voice of the Heaven and Earth tripod came. What do you old man know? What is waste? The Dragon Bone Evil Moon was furious at the words of the Heaven and Earth tripod. Evil Moon, don't get angry. The Elder is right. There are priorities and we need to make overall arrangements. Dragon Dust hurried. But the key is... Dragon Evil Moon Way. The Dragon Bone Evil Moon continued to say, but was interrupted by the Dragon Dust. The key is that you are the Dragon Bone Evil Moon. Did you ever kill an unknown person in Tianwu mainland? That's not true. That's it? Now that you control the new body, you are reborn from nirvana. When you become famous, you must be the kind that attracts the attention of the public and shines the heaven and earth. You haven't killed nobody in Tianwu mainland. When you came to the fairy world, you began to kill rookies? It doesn't seem very good? Dragon Dust asked. This seems really bad. Hey, forget it. Wait until you meet an expert in the future. Hey, it's all your fault. You shouldn't have killed all the people in front of the 9 Days Gate, otherwise you wouldn't even have a person to spread the news. The Dragon Bone Evil Moon complained. Dragon Dust smiled to himself. The Evil Moon was still the Evil Moon. She was still so good-looking. Once she wore a high hat, everything was done. What you said, I don't lack anything, but I don't lack enemies. Have you forgotten those guys behind the 9 Days Gate? Long Chen said with a smile. Hearing the Dragon Dust say so, the Dragon Bone Evil Moon was relieved. She hung on the Dragon Dust's back again and stopped talking. It seemed that she began to shut herself up secretly. Unexpectedly, you have such a big cause and effect with it, and it listens to you. It's awesome. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Dragon Dust was surprised. It seems not easy for the Heaven and Earth tripod to say, powerful. Dragon Dust tentatively asked, do you know the moon? Don't know, Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Then you. When I knew it, it wasn't called the Dragon Bone Evil Moon. In fact, I had some grudges with it. I didn't mention the past of Chin Sesame and Rotten Millet. I felt that it was much worse than me. You'd better refine Shinzundan quickly. I have to pour a basin of cold water on you first. There are more than 3 kinds of skills you cultivate. There are only 3 kinds of essence and blood. You are no longer a simple 9-star descendant. Your body needs to match all the skills you cultivate. The consumption is huge. Therefore, you have no time to waste. A strong surface and back must be supported by solid backing, otherwise you will be thrown away soon. Heaven and earth Ding Dao. Long Chen nodded to understand. He also felt that his body had changed greatly after the robbery. His body is like a piece of land, and the 9-star body formula, Dragon God Body Refining and Great Brahman Sutra are crops. Originally, he only needs to support the 9-star body formula, but now it is different. He also needs to nourish the Dragon God Body Refining and Great Brahman Sutra, and even Lei Linger and Huelinger need to occupy a part. Perhaps this is why, after advancing the realm of divine respect, he can instantly send almost all magical powers, because his body seems to have some integration. When his strength becomes stronger, the need to improve the realm becomes greater. Start alchemy. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4703 Longchen returned to the academy to exchange some precious medicine. Although the pill in Longchen's hand can also be refined into Shinzuan pill can have more than one formula. There are as many as 37 kinds of pills that Dragon Dust knows. The reason why there are such pills is that the pills refined from different formulas will have very good effects for different physique. The advanced pills circulating in the market are basically universal pills, that is, they can eat any constitution without exclusion and are very safe, but for some people with special physique, the effect will be greatly reduced. However, because the price of omnipotent pills is relatively cheap, many practitioners will choose them. Only some powerful Tianjiao can have the strength to eat pills consistent with their own physique. Dragon Dust is different from them. The precious medicine is produced in his own land, and the pill is practiced by himself. There is almost no cost except time. Naturally, he has to give his brothers the pill made to measure. In addition, there are more than 70 kinds of Shenzundan prescriptions known by Chen Kuanding. Some precious medicines are not in the hands of Long Chen. So he went to the treasure house of the academy to look for them, because Long Chen saw many precious medicines in the hands of the disciples of the academy. At this time, these precious medicines were identified, classified and stored, and easy to find. It has to be said that Huayun firm's efficiency is high. It is said that when it learned that the appraisers were not enough, it urgently dispatched hundreds of senior appraisers to quickly identify the treasures in their hands. After the appraisal, the appraisers of Huayun firm didn't even have time to drink water and rushed to the next place. Recently, they are the busiest because many disciples of forces have brought back many treasures from the Jiutian channel. In this world, only Huayun firm has the best reputation, and they only dare to identify and trade in Huayun firm. As for the sacrifice event of Longting firm, after the exposure of Longchen, its reputation plummeted, and then it was devastated by Longchen's fake heaven and earth tripod event, and completely reduced to a laughingstock. Not only Longting firm, but also those firms that have contacts with Longting firm have been affected, and their business is bleak. This time was originally the best time for them to make a fortune. Unfortunately, everyone went to Huayun firm for treasure appraisal and trading and ignored them. For some powerful sects, because there are many disciples or treasures, Huayun firm will directly come to the door for identification like Lingshao Academy. After treasure identification, only part of the identification fee is charged, but the transaction is not forced, and the secret of treasure identification is limited to the appraiser himself, and even Huayun firm can't inquire about it. Dragon Dust found more than 30 kinds of precious medicines he could use in the treasure pavilion. With the precious medicines in his mixing space, there are as many as 48 kinds of divine pills that Dragon Dust can refine. Kunding told Long Chen that the reason why he was asked to collect so many precious medicines and refine different Shinzuan pills was that Long Chen needed to take too many pills. If he only took one, drug resistance would develop very quickly, resulting in worse and worse effects. Only by taking different Shinzuan pills in turn to make the body constantly adapt to different pills, it is not easy to develop drug resistance. This is the same as eating. If you eat 3 meals a day and one dish at a time, you will eat and vomit in a few days, but if you eat dozens of dishes in turn, you won't be tired of eating. The principle of eating is the same as eating, Dan. The so-called drug resistance is that the rejection of the body is stimulated. Are you ready? On the high mountain, the immortal fog is dense, and the body of the heaven and earth tripod is magnified to more than 10 feet high. The runes around it are lit up, and the whole world is covered with a layer of sacred brilliance. The present heaven and earth tripod has undergone great changes from the previous heaven and earth tripod, and its breath is stronger and stronger. As its breath filled the air, the vegetation on the mountains suddenly glowed with vitality, and the whole world became vibrant because of the heaven and earth tripod. Ready, Dragon Dust responded that all the precious medicines were transplanted into the chaotic space, which was inexhaustible. No matter how many pills were refined, they were enough. What I'm talking about is your state. You've reached the advanced level of God. Our alchemy is different from before. We need to pay attention to efficiency. Heaven and earth Ding Dao. You mean? Dragon Dust seems to understand at once. No wonder the body shape of the heaven and earth tripod will be so huge. Yes, you need the result, but I need the process. Time is very precious to us. Therefore, we should refine more pills in one furnace, which will consume you a lot. Don't be careless. Heaven and earth Ding Dao. Okay, originally, Long Chen thought that with his current strength, refining pills with the heaven and earth tripod was just a piece of cake. Now he realized that his idea was too simple. The heaven and earth tripod said, "Come on, first refine Qilua Shenzundan, a total of 999, Qilua tulip, Jianlong grass, purple heartroot." When he heard the amount of 999 pills, Long Chen was shocked. Kunding was preparing to refine 999 pills at one time. He had never been in contact with this situation. Senior, why don't we come step by step? I'm afraid I can't control it. Dragon Dust Road, he has absolute confidence in the power of his soul, but he has no experience in refining so many pills at one time, and Dragon Dust has no bottom in his heart. It's not necessary. Alchemy is like fighting on the battlefield. Experience needs to be accumulated through actual combat. What's the difference between fighting with one person and fighting with 999 people at the same level? Asked the heaven and earth tripod. It doesn't make any difference. If I can fight one, I can fight 999, unless they can unite their strength like the Dragon Blood Legion. Dragon Dust Road. Yes, these precious medicines don't understand tactics, let alone cooperation. Refining one pill is not much different from refining 999 pills. As long as you master the skills and use your soul power, it's not difficult. Come on. Heaven and earth Ding Dao. Okay, Long Chen immediately gets ready. At the same time, Huolinger has also stood beside Long Chen. When cooperating with Long Chen, she should also study hard. Ooh, the flame in Long Chen's hand rises and slowly pours into the heaven and earth tripod. The runes on the heaven and earth tripod light up one by one according to a specific law. There are tens of thousands of runes on the heaven and earth tripod. When the 108th rune lights up, the whole heaven and earth tripod turns red and the divine light envelopes the sky and earth. The divine radiance of the heaven and earth tripod radiates, but the temperature is not high and extremely warm. It is like the rising sun sprinkling its brilliance on the earth and moistening all things. At this time, Long Chen controlled the precious medicine with the power of soul and let them fly into the heaven and earth tripod one by one according to the order of heaven and earth tripod. When the precious medicine is put into the tripod, it will quickly turn into juice, and the juice will evaporate and turn into powder. With the injection of precious medicine, the powder will accumulate higher and higher. When the last precious medicine is put into the tripod, all the powder will explode like a lighted volcano. Boom! At the moment when they broke out, the lid of the heaven and earth tripod closed and locked them firmly in the tripod. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4704, Who? The flame in Dragon Dust's hand soared rapidly. The violent flame, like hundreds of millions of fire dragons, wrapped the heaven and earth tripod. The flame rushed into the sky and burned a big hole in the sky. Dragon Dust had to make all-out efforts to refine so many pills at one time. If the heat is not enough, particles will appear when the medicine powder turns into liquid. As soon as the particles appear, this furnace of pills will become a pot of porridge and can no longer be refined. Buzzing, buzzing. The powder in the heaven and earth tripod turned into liquid medicine in an instant and began to boil. However, the heaven and earth tripod locked the liquid medicine tightly without any breath leakage, which led to the rapid rise of the power in the pill tripod. At this time, the soul power of Long Chen broke out and rushed into the Dan Ding crazily, constantly suppressing the power of Dan medicine. With the power oppression of Long Chen, the liquid medicine began to resist. The greater the pressure, the greater the resistance. Soon, the conscious forces began to attack the soul power of Long Chen 1, 2, and 3. In an instant, 999 consciousness awakened, and they began to absorb the power of liquid medicine to strengthen themselves, and began to attack the soul power of Long Chen at the same time. They are like a bunch of flames, burning madly. It is reasonable to say that how they burn, their power will soon burn out. But alchemy is to let the Reiki between heaven and earth constantly enter the Dan tripod. All the power consumed by their combustion is the power of heaven and earth. Their original power will not be consumed, because they absorb the aura of heaven and earth, which makes them stronger and stronger. Boom, boom. In the Dan stove, 999 flames surged, like a big fireball dragging its tail, rolling endlessly, madly attacking the soul of Long Chen. At this time, the Dragon Dust is like a cook. His soul is a spoon. He keeps stirring the fireballs in the heaven and earth tripod. He can neither let them attack each other and kill each other, nor let them integrate to deal with themselves. The 999 fireballs need to evenly distribute all the energy in the pill oven. No more or less pills can be used, otherwise there will be an imbalance. Once there is an imbalance, the pill will explode or even the oven will explode. Therefore, there are usually only 9 pills in a furnace. On the one hand, 9 is the number of destiny, which is usually the control limit of Danshio. On the other hand, it is 9 pills. If the furnace is fried, Danshio still has the hope of saving his life. There are too many pills. If there is an accident, his life will be gone. Moreover, alchemists know that it is normal for alchemy to have an accident, which has little to do with personal technology. Even the strongest alchemy would never dare to say that every furnace of alchemy can be absolutely successful. Take Long Chen himself, for example. He has the memory of the Dante. The art of alchemy can be said to be unique in the world and has never met an opponent. However, even so, Long Chen sometimes makes mistakes. On a larger scale, the heaven and earth tripod is one of the top 10 chaotic artifacts. When it cooperates with Huelinger, it also has the phenomenon of exploding pills. In the words of the heaven and earth tripod, the failure of the pill is sometimes related to personal chi, the changes of the laws of heaven and earth and the laws of the operation of all things in the universe. Even if it is, there is no way. Therefore, no matter what level of elixir is, as long as it is refining elixir, even the most familiar elixir, it must be absorbed and dare not be careless at all. Boom! The fireballs in the Dan furnace are surging more and more violently. The face of Dragon Dust is dignified and the power of soul is surging. They dare not be careless. They keep stirring these fireballs. At the same time, they should observe their changes to prevent them from attacking and merging with each other. Governing a big country is like cooking small delicacies, and realizing the great road is like refining fairy pills. Have you ever thought about what you are in the world in the pill stove? What are the fireballs? what are the liquid medicine, and what are your hands? Heaven and earth ding dao. The words of the heaven and earth tripod reminded Longchen. At that moment, Longchen suddenly thought of what the master of the clean house said. If this furnace is the world of 9 days, and these 999 fireballs represent 999 races, power, plane, liquid medicine is the source to support them. The hand of one's own soul is the law to balance the world? What about yourself? Is it really the master? If I am the master, my purpose is to eat them, but they don't know that the seemingly balanced world is actually controlled by people. One-hand control? Dragon Dust suddenly thought of himself. If he is also one of the 999 pills, is it because he is too strong and leads to the imbalance of the world? Therefore, does that big hand want to get rid of himself? Boom, bad, Dragon Dust exclaimed. At the moment when he was distracted, 3 fire groups merged together. After they merged together, they formed a huge fire group. When the power of Dragon Dust's soul touched it, it avoided the hand of Dragon Dust's soul and rushed straight to several other fire groups. The fire regiments thought they were attacked and directly launched a counterattack. As a result, they were absorbed in an instant, and the fire regiment became larger again. It's over. When the fire group swallowed up 6 fire groups, Dragon Dust sighed. It swallowed too many fire groups. If it is destroyed, although the medicine absorbed by them will be recovered. However, if 9 pills are missing, the power of other pills will be divided equally. Although 990 pills are divided equally, the influence of each pill is very small. But alchemy is like this. Even a trace of influence will lead to the loss of previous achievements. Otherwise, why should we accurately master the dosage before alchemy? At this time, even if the quality of the pill is no longer good, it won't make any sense to look at it quietly. Anyway, it won't make any sense to take care of it. When the soul hand of Longchen withdrew from the heaven and earth tripod, without the intervention of Longchen, those fire groups immediately became violent. Some began to devour the liquid medicine crazily, some attacked other fire groups, and even shocked Longchen that several fire groups gathered together and seemed to be discussing something. This scene shocked Longchen. Before, these fire groups were only conscious at most, but when Longchen's big hand withdrew, these pills seemed to give birth to wisdom. Dragon Dust even saw several fire groups hiding in the corner, neither fighting nor absorbing the liquid medicine. Like a spectator, he quietly looked at everything around him. When the power of your soul is in the tripod, everything in the tripod is under your control. You interfere with the way of heaven and the law. In other words, you are the way of heaven and the law. But when the power of your soul exits, this is the epitome of this world. Do you remember the way of heaven that the sweeper told you? Heaven and earth ding dao. The Tao of heaven is ignorant of its beginning and its end, ignorant of its end and its source. Its great has no outside and its small has no inside. I understand that the world is no big or small, no source for no reason, no inside or outside. The so-called inside and outside is just a kind of cognition. I see here that the furnace is just a space. If I am one of the light groups, the Dan furnace is the whole world. At that moment, Longchen had a new understanding of the way of heaven. When the master of the clean house said, Longchen was still in the clouds. Now, after waking up from the heaven and earth tripod, Longchen realized it in an instant. Boom! At this time, the Dan stove suddenly changed. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4705. What Longchen didn't expect was that the fire group, which gathered the most power, burst open. It was not attacked, but burst open by itself. At the moment of its explosion, a fire mass swallowed its energy and became the strongest fire mass in the Danding. However, it had just formed, but it was directly penetrated by an insignificant fire mass. The fire group, like a killer hidden in the dark, did not know how to find each other's weakness, gave it a fatal blow and killed each other. There was complete chaos in the heaven and earth tripod. All fire groups killed madly. Even those hiding on one side were involved. Boom! At this time, the energy of the heaven and earth tripod was completely out of balance and made a loud noise. All the fire masses disappeared in an instant and turned into black ash. Looking at the black dust, the dragon seemed to be shocked by the endless dust, but it disappeared from the black dust. "What do you see?" asked the heaven and earth tripod. "See a lot," Longchen murmured. For the first time, Longchen observed the failure of alchemy so carefully, which gave him too much inspiration. "Come on, continue refining pills." Under the guidance of the heaven and earth tripod, Longchen took a deep breath, calmed his excitement and began to refine pills twice. This time, Longchen was no longer distracted and balanced the power of each pill with the power of his soul, so that the power in the heaven and earth tripod kept a wonderful balance all the time. Boom! Dragon Dust's soul power withdraws and the furnace roars. When the pill is completed, Dragon Dust must withdraw his soul power and let the pill absorb the aura of heaven and earth to form an independent consciousness. If the soul power of Dragon Dust does not withdraw, the pill will lose its spirit. In this way, the refined pill will not be of high grade. However, when the soul power of Dragon Dust withdraws, the situation in the Dante furnace will no longer be controlled by Dragon Dust. At this time, it depends on luck. That's why Danshio at any level is likely to fail. Boom! With a loud noise, the heaven and earth tripod vibrated violently. For a moment, the Dan tripod fell into silence. Longchen carefully lifted the top cover, and 999 divine lights rose into the sky. "Ooh!" Dragon Dust waved his big hand, and the divine light stirred. He blocked these pills and wanted to escape as soon as he came out. How could Dragon Dust let them achieve their wishes? Succeeded, Longchen looked at the pills suspended in front of him and couldn't help feeling a little excited. When these pills came out of the oven, the light was excited, but now it's dark, and his body is wrinkled like a shriveled orange. But Longchen knows that this is a special pill, which can seal all the effects of the pill and has the ability to shield the secret of heaven. Only this kind of pill clothes can make so many unique gold pills appear in the world at the same time. Otherwise, once these unique gold pills appear, only one can survive, and all the others will be destroyed by the way of heaven. Peerless means unique. If you condense the pill clothes that shield the secret of heaven, you can appear in this world unscrupulously. As long as you don't destroy the pill clothes, how many peerless pills will be fine together? 999 unique gold pills were made at one time. Even Dragon Dust was shocked. If it was spread, it would definitely scare a large group of people to death. The way of alchemy is a great way. The so-called great way connects heaven, one dharma and all dharmas. Alchemy is also a kind of practice. You should carefully understand the mystery and don't ignore the process for the sake of results. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Thank you for your advice. Longchen understands. Longchen nodded and looked respectful. In the past, he refined pills entirely to get pills, but now, Longchen Kai understands how many opportunities he has wasted for so many years. Did Huolinger see it? Asked the heaven and earth tripod. I also remember the process. The rhythm will not be wrong. I have no problem with the transformation of soul power and the change of flame urgency. It's the power of my soul. It's far less powerful than Brother Longchen. I'm afraid I can't be as perfect as Brother Longchen. Huolinger said with a trace of shame on her pretty face. If you can say something like this, it means you don't really understand that the so-called balance technique is a skill of pulling 1,000 pounds in 4 or 2. Dragon Dust was also controlled by brute force at the beginning. Later, you can see that the transformation of soul force, the control of rhythm and the priority change of flame actually change with the change in the Dan furnace. As long as you know. Forget it, you're just the spirit of fire. It's great to understand these. I'll refine 2 more stoves of pills with Longchen. Look at the changes carefully. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Buzz, speaking, the heaven and earth tripod began to refine pills again. This time, with the previous experience and the guidance of the heaven and earth tripod, Longchen's soul control this time began to become familiar. As the heaven and earth tripod said, the art of balance is a skill, not brute force. When you master this skill, everything becomes simple. 2 consecutive heats of pills are successful. The third one is controlled by Hewlinger. As expected, although Hewlinger is smart, he is the spirit of fire after all. His comprehension ability can't be compared with that of dragon dust. The third furnace failed halfway through refining. This is a great blow to Hewlinger, but Long Chen comforted her with a good voice and told her not to be afraid. If she failed, Long Chen can also feel different ways of heaven from the unbalanced world in the heaven and earth tripod. For Long Chen, the harvest is greater than success. So Dragon Dust asked Hewlinger to put down the pressure and don't be afraid of failure. Anyway, regardless of success or failure, Dragon Dust has a harvest. Hearing the consolation of Long Chen, Hewlinger was no longer impatient. Under the guidance of Heaven and Earth Ding, he continued to refine pills. After 7 consecutive failures, he finally succeeded in the 8th time. After this success, Hewlinger's confidence increased greatly. At the same time, he also remembered the secret. He refined it twice in a row. Both succeeded. He immediately smiled and jumped with dragon dust in his arms. He was so excited. Come on. Change another one, Lotus Heart God Zundan. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. According to the order of the Heaven and Earth tripod, Long Chen quickly put out all the precious medicines in the formula in order. With successful experience, everything became simple. Long Chen refined it first, and then let Hewlinger learn. Hewlinger knew that the pill was very important to Long Chen, and she had been studying hard. Moreover, alchemy pays attention to control, which is also of great help to her practice, which is a good thing for her to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Most importantly, Qianquan also gave her some advice from time to time, which made her grateful to Qianquan. When all kinds of divine elixirs have been refined for half a month, Hewlinger has controlled all the alchemy methods. In this way, Hewlinger can do these things. Long Chen just planned to leave, and Qianquan said, "Don't you think you've forgotten a very important thing? What's the matter? Have you forgotten what your Dragon Blood Legion lacks most? Heaven and Earth Ding Dao." Long Chen was stunned for a long time. He didn't remember what it was. The Heaven and Earth tripod was not angry. He said, "Have you forgotten your destiny?" Long Chen slapped his thigh hard and jumped up directly. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4706, Buzz. The Heaven and Earth tripod trembled, and a pill with the pattern of 9 nebulae flew out and fell on the palm of dragon dust. This pill is turbid inside and looks insignificant, but it contains the power of vast destiny. Long Chen is very excited when he holds this pill. It's really possible. Although Qianquan said that when he reached his strength, he could refine Tianming pill, Long Chen still couldn't believe it. This is a 9-star destiny pill, which is refined from 99 8-star destiny fruits. Its fluctuation is exactly the same as that of a 9-star destiny fruit. In other words, this one destiny pill can create a powerful 9-star destiny, which is almost against the sky. Before, Long Chen was still in trouble. He had more than 500 9-star destiny fruits in his hands. How to distribute these destiny fruits is a big problem. Although he knows that no matter how he distributes it, the Dragon Blood soldiers will not have any opinions, but as the boss of the Dragon Blood Legion, he must have a bowl of water. That's why Long Chen didn't rush to distribute the 9-star destiny fruit. He didn't know how to distribute it, because the difference between the strength of the 8-star destiny and the 9-star destiny was too great. Now, 99 8-star destiny fruits can refine a 9-star destiny pill, which makes Dragon Dust roar with excitement. In this way, the whole Dragon Blood Legion will be 9-star destiny in the future. Dragon Dust can't imagine what a terrible legion it will be when all the Dragon Blood Legions are promoted to 9-star destiny. Is there any force in the world that can stop them from moving forward? Don't be excited. Refining destiny fruit is a time-consuming and laborious work, and it can only be completed by yourself. Huoling and I can't do it for you. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Dragon dust seems to have been poured with a basin of cold water. There are only tens of thousands of 8-star destiny fruits of dragon dust, and there are only hundreds of 9-star destiny pills made of 99. The Dragon Blood Legion has more than 7,000 people, and the gap is still huge. If you want to obtain more 8-star destiny pills, you need to refine the 7-star destiny pills, and the number of 7-star destiny fruits is also insufficient, so you need to start refining from the destiny fruits. If the 6-star destiny fruit is still not enough, Dragon Dust will start with the 5-star destiny fruit. In this way, for Dragon Dust, it is a terrible big project. 5 stars refine 6 stars, 6 stars refine 7 stars. All the way to 9 stars. If it depends on Dragon Dust's own refining, it won't refine spitting blood. No way. How do these heavenly fruits come from? You should understand that you are its master, and only you can integrate them, not even me. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. In the mouth of the Qiankuan tripod, it refers to the heavenly tree. Hearing the Qiankuan tripod say so, Long Chen immediately felt his scalp numb. Don't think so much. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. As long as you take the first step, it's not far from success. You can't be afraid of trouble. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Dragon Dust also knows this truth, but at the thought of this refining process, no matter who it is, he has a feeling of despair, but for the sake of the Dragon Blood Legion, he can only bite his teeth. Buzz, the Heaven and Earth tripod vibrated, and tens of thousands of destiny fruits appeared in the Heaven and Earth tripod. Long Chen was startled. Elder, are you going to squeeze juice? Squeeze a hairy juice. I want to test the upper limit of your soul power and see how many pills you can refine at a time. If you can only refine 1 pill in a furnace, you have to refine it until monkey years and horse months? Don't say you can't afford it. I can't afford to wait. The Heaven and Earth tripod is not angry. Can you still play like this? Long Chen couldn't help but rejoice. Buzz, the power of fire of Dragon Dust erupted and the power of soul poured in. To Dragon Dust's delight, refining Tianming pill is 100 times easier than refining Shenzundan. Boom! The Heaven and Earth cauldron vibrated after a time of incense. Hundreds of pills had been refined, and all the pills glittered with 5-star patterns. The Heaven and Earth cauldron was also very cautious. It took the 4-star destiny fruit and began to refine it first. It was afraid of making mistakes. It would be embarrassing if there were insufficient destiny fruit at that time. Hundreds of 5-star destiny fruits can only be refined into dozens of 6-star destiny fruits, and even 1 7-star destiny fruit can't be refined. Fortunately, it made a good start for the first time, and the Heaven and Earth tripod continued to increase. The soul power of Dragon Dust is extremely powerful. Coupled with his exquisite control and rich experience in alchemy, the limit of Dragon Dust is finally measured. He can refine millions of destiny fruits at most once. 1 million 5-star destiny fruit can refine about 16-star destiny fruit, 107-star destiny fruit, and 1 8-star destiny fruit. It seems that the distance from the target is still far away. However, there are many destiny fruits of Dragon Dust 6 stars and 7 stars. Dragon Dust roughly calculated them and finished them. The gap is not very big. So Long Chen began to refine pills day and night, 2 days a day. Long Chen didn't sleep for a whole month, and finally refined more than 8,000 9-star destiny pills. The pill made Long Chen crazy, his eyes began to lose consciousness, and people were in a trance. When Long Chen saw Guoran and others after leaving the customs, Guoran and others were startled. Boss, are you okay? Guoran hurriedly holds Long Chen. At this time, Yu Qingxian and Bai Shishir come and sit down instead of Guoran mixed with Long Chen. Dragon Dust, what's the matter with you? Yu Qingchuan's face was full of heartache. She had never seen such a tired Dragon Dust. Find Guoran. I'll give these fruits and pills to my brothers. There are special fluctuations on the fruits and pills. Let everyone choose what is consistent with their own attributes. Don't pay attention to it. If there is a lack, they'll get it again. Dragon Dust Road. The reason why Long Chen refined hundreds more is to give everyone more choices. When Guoran saw the pills and fruits, he understood at once, nodded and turned away. I can finally have a rest. Long Chen stretched out for a long time and leaned back. As a result, she was leaning against Bai Shishi's fragrant arms. Bai Shishir suddenly blushed. Fortunately, only she and Yu Qingxian were left in the room. Even so, she still felt her heart beat faster and wanted to push Long Chen away, but she was reluctant to give up. When she looked at Long Chen secretly, she found that Long Chen had gone to sleep. Bai Shishir had no sense of shyness and was replaced by heartache. Long Chen was too tired. He hasn't rested for a moment since the Battle of the 9 Days Gate. No one knows how he survived. When Long Chen woke up, he found Yu Qingxian and Bai Shishir lying on their left and right shoulders. They were still whispering. When Long Chen woke up, they hurried out of Long Chen's arms. Long Chen stretched out his hand to hold their slender waist and wanted to be warm for a while. After all, he hadn't felt the beautiful scenery carefully before. Bad. Just then, Bai Xiaola shouted and ran in. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4707, What Happened? Dragon Dust quickly sat up. Bai Xiaola, the younger brother-in-law, didn't know that he had ruined his brother-in-law's good deeds, and didn't see Bai Shishir and Yu Qingchuan's shy expression. He said to Long Chen, Boss, it's not good. There are many cruel people outside the academy. They are extremely arrogant. Cruel? How cruel? Dragon Dust was stunned. I don't know. The front yard has been noisy. It seems that there is a possibility of fighting at any time. The dean is not in, and the other principal is not in. Boss, go and have a look. Bai Xiaola said anxiously. Go and have a look. Long Chen followed Bai Xiaola out, and Bai Shishir and Yu Qingxian followed him out. However, Long Chen said, Don't come out first. Recently, every one of the Dragon Blood Corps tried not to show up. But Bai Shishir doesn't understand. Long Chen was about to speak, but Yu Qingxian had already held Bai Shishi's hand and said, There's nothing beautiful there. Let's go and eat the pill that Long Chen gave us. Long Chen left special 9-star destiny pills for Bai Shishir, Yu Qingxian, Guo Ran, Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, Xia Chen, Bai Xiaola and others. These pills fit their abilities very well. Bai Shishir and Yu Qingxian didn't take the pill because they were with Long Chen. Therefore, they didn't close the door. Although Bai Shishir was still reluctant, they were dragged away by Yu Qingxian. Bai Shishir and Yu Qingxian leave. Long Chen and Bai Xiaola move forward together. Long Chen asks, Do you know who are coming? I don't know. I just took the pill, but there was no response. They all closed their doors. I went out for a walk when I was all right. I heard the position of the front hall yelling with a strong penetrating voice. It should be the Saint King level strong man roaring, and his killing intention was not concealed at all. I don't know what happened, so I quickly ran to tell the boss. I'm afraid I'll delay the matter when I find out. Bai Xiaola hurried. Don't talk about those useless things. To put it bluntly, you are timid and dare not stand out. Just then, the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox appeared on Bai Xiaola's shoulder, and his little face was full of disdain. Bai Xiaola said angrily, You're both counseled and lazy. Let me digest the pill. You don't dare to stand out when you're in trouble. It's a shame to follow you. The purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox skimmed its small mouth and said, A little fox made a human expression, which looked a little funny. Bai Xiaola blushed with anxiety, but he didn't know how to refute. Long Chen patted Bai Xiaola on the shoulder. He didn't know whether it was intentional or unintentional. As a result, he was patting the head of the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox and slapped the fox on the heel. Oops, the little fox was patted on the heel and was immediately angry, but Long Chen hurriedly said, Sorry. You obviously did it on purpose. The little fox was so angry that he said, You are also a bad man. Hey, I really didn't mean it. Don't cry. I'm sorry. Long Chen saw the little fox's tears swirling in his eyes and hurriedly apologized. In fact, Long Chen really didn't mean it. He habitually wanted to comfort Bai Xiaola, but he forgot the position of the little fox. Long Chen hurriedly hugged the little fox on his shoulder and offered comfort. The little fox stopped crying. Bai Xiaola also apologized to the little fox. Looking at Bai Xiaola's distressed face, the little fox turned his head and didn't see him. Bai Xiaola was suddenly embarrassed. Long Chen patted Bai Xiaola on the shoulder and said, "Counseling is counseling. There's nothing you dare not admit." "Boss, Bai Xiaola was in a hurry. Dragon Dust continued, "Did Gua Ran say that you are also a member of the Dragon Blood Corps?" Said, Bai Xiaola was a little excited. Before, Bai Xiaola had always wanted to join the Dragon Blood Corps, but Long Chen didn't say anything, promised or didn't promise. Bai Xiaola goes to Gua Ran. Gua Ran tells Bai Xiaola that it's not easy to join the Dragon Blood Legion. Unless he can get everyone's approval, the boss can't let him join the Dragon Blood Legion. But after such a long time of running in and in front of the 9-day gate, Bai Xiaola's performance has indeed been recognized by everyone. After returning to the academy, Gua Ran told Bai Xiaola that everyone agreed with him to join the Dragon Blood Corps. Finally, the boss nodded. Now when Long Chen mentions this matter, he suddenly becomes excited and nervous. Everyone in the spiritual world worships the strong, and Bai Xiaola is no exception. Everyone in the Dragon Blood Legion is the strong. Bai Xiaola urgently hopes to integrate into it, because he saw that every Dragon Blood warrior is a real warrior, and he also hopes to become a strong man like them one day. Do you know what anyone in the Dragon Blood Legion will do when he learns that I'm still resting and others are closed? Dragon Dust asked. I don't know. Bai Xiaola was asked. Our Dragon Blood Legion is a brother who depends on life and death. There is no distinction between upper and lower levels. Everyone can be the leader of the whole Dragon Blood Legion, both prosperity and loss. Even if the whole army is destroyed because of someone's mistake, there will only be laughter and laughter, not blame and accusation. Long Chen looked at Bai Xiaolido. Boss. Bai Xiaola looked shocked. I command the whole Dragon Blood Legion. They have given all their lives to me, and I can also give my life to each of them. This is the Dragon Blood Legion. Dragon Dust Road. Bai Xiaola's face was full of shock. This was the first time he really knew the Dragon Blood Legion and the Dragon Dust. You have passed the test and are a member of the Dragon Blood Corps. From now on, you don't need to be timid, because no matter how much trouble you have caused, we will bear it for you. So, don't give advice at any time. The sky is falling. They'll help you carry it. Remember, our Dragon Blood army is united, sharing weal and woe, regardless of each other. Long Chen patted Bai Xiaola on the shoulder. Boss. Bai Xiaola was so excited that tears were about to come out. Long Chen has admitted that he is a member of the Dragon Blood Corps. Xiaojiao, Long Chen turned his head and looked at the purple pupil nine-tailed fox on his shoulder. At this time, the purple pupil nine-tailed fox looked wronged. Long Chen said, You and Xiaola are one. They are both prosperous and lose. Xiaola has a weak character. Many times, you should support the beam. Remember, you are equal with him. If the Dragon Blood Legion recognizes him, it will also recognize you, and it is not because of him to recognize you. Do you understand? Boss. When Long Chen said so, the little fox's eyes turned red. Dragon Dust touched the little fox's head and said, You are not an accessory, let alone someone's pet. You're you. When Xiaola does wrong, you have the right to control the future of two people, rather than just let Xiaola mess. Can I really? The little fox trembled. Of course. If Xiaola is not convinced, tell me and I'll clean him up. Long Chen's face was serious. Well, I can't stand him for a long time. The little fox shouted excitedly. He was not human, but he didn't expect Long Chen to treat him like Bai Xiaola, which made him both excited and grateful. Boss. Seeing the little fox so excited, Bai Xiaola felt a little bad. Dragon Dust sent the little fox to Bai Xiaola's shoulder. The little fox suddenly became arrogant. Shut up and go to the front hall immediately. Don't affect the boss to receive guests. Bai Xiaola listened to the little fox's words and immediately turned his mouth, but he didn't dare to make a sound. He could only follow Long Chen to the front hall. Are all the leaders of Lingshao Academy bastards in the well? No one dares to show his head? Dragon Dust just walked to the door of the hall, and a word came, which immediately made him angry. Xiao Jiao, I see. Purple Pupil Nine-Tailed Demon Fox suddenly came to the spirit. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Calm that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.